Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Adam and Pi and Coda and Tanya. Good afternoon, Lucy and Pack and Bug and Broccoli. Good afternoon, Peapot, Vicky, Miss Anne, Who Am I, Savitri. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on where you are on this beautiful planet. Hi, happy Thursday. Yeah, rest day for me. Hi, team. Hi, everybody. How's it going? I hope you're all having a fabulous day. Thank you so much for joining me on this ad hoc, boy, drop of a hat live stream. So, today, I wanted to catch up with Chantal, but Chantal hasn't gone live, because Chantal might have COVID. So, we're going to touch on the community posts. I'll acknowledge all of that and what's going on there. I'll run some theories. Got my tinfoil beret hiding behind the cheetah print one back there. But we're actually going to be watching some classic Chantal. Some better times Chantal. That's what we're going to be watching. So today we're going to be reacting to Eating Like the Titanic, Time Warp Mukbang Eating Like the 1920s, Eating Like the 1950s, 1969 Fondue Party Mukbang, and Eating Like the 80s. That's what we're going to do today, and it's going to be a great time. And weirdly enough, it is so strange to consider the fact that, like, my better memories of Chantal are the time warps, right? But they all happened at the same time. They all happened in August, like, from early August through early September in 2020. How wild is that to consider? That was, like, a year and a half ago. But it was all in, like, the span of a month. How wild is that to consider? Like, that is, in my opinion, peak Chantal content. Well, peak good Chantal content. Sans, you've never seen the time warps? Buckle in, buddy. Buckle in. It's a whole different vibe to what we get now. Punisher, you are not losing your mind. I did give myself a neat little trim last night. Full Britney moment, staring myself down in the mirror being like, you're doing the gym, you're doing the thing, time to buzz. So I buzzed. My beard is still a little bit all over the place, but that's okay. It just needs oil. Maybe I'll oil... No, I won't oil that while I'm on stream again. It's fine. So, that's what we're going to do. Does anyone have any questions before we begin? Any questions? Oh, I also have a big steaming, piping, scalding cup of, it is actually very hot today, English breakfast, and it's very full. Mild anxiety there. Very sweet. That's good. That's good. Rude disclaimers from the top. Hi, my name's Zach. Lovely to meet you if you're new, and thank you very much for returning. If you're coming back, I'm not a mental or physical healthcare professional, just a guy who lost some weight on the internet, and talks about things on the internet, rather. Also not here to bully, shame, hate, harass, or humiliate, literally here to talk about the produced and monetized content that we see here on the platform. Today, we'll be discussing all of the things that I previously mentioned. Welcome to Time Warps. Welcome. Also, Kevin update. Saw him today, like, 3 minutes ago. You'll hear the McCallisters outside, and Kevin was being very loud in the tree again. Also, it's been raining, so they'll probably be around to eat all the worms and bugs. But anyway, if Kevin makes an appearance, Kevin makes an appearance. I understand he's a very popular side character. Right, we'll get started with community posts. Let's bring those up. We'll start with here-ish, I guess. This, look, just look at this face. Just look at this face. Anyway, there was this one as well. Great. All right, so there's a missing community post in the middle here, which I should have been prepared and pulled up. But in essence, I'm sick. It's COVID symptoms. The government said if we have COVID symptoms to assume it's COVID, stay home. In short. She didn't like the response that she got from her audience, because her entire audience was like, yo, we've been telling you to stay home since Sunday. And yeah, we were there. It was Sunday. Been telling you to stay home since Sunday. Why did you feel the need to Pennington's bees just because you can't turn your washing machine on? In essence, there was a lot more. But obviously, during this pandemic, the messaging has been very clear that if sick, stay home. If sick, get tested, all of that. I understand testing's a different bag of cats over in Canada, but still, symptoms, stay home. Good premise for moving forward in general. If you are sick, if you are unwell, regardless regardless of COVID or not, stay home, get better, don't spread your germs around. Also understanding that it is a privilege to be able to do that, and some people can't do that. I understand, but like, Foodie didn't need to go and buy an ugly sweater. It wasn't even an ironically ugly sweater, just like a not great. I was about to call it a kimono. It's not a kimono, it's a cardigan. Words will come to me slowly today. My hamsters? Oh no, are my hamsters okay? No, hamsters are okay. So, buttons. We then get, okay, New Year, let's try this again, referencing the previously deleted live stream? Live stream? Community post. Hold on, do we need Chantal's voice? Okay, New Year, let's try this again. I think I have COVID. I should not have gone out yesterday. I was feeling poorly Sunday for a while, but I usually do when I feel run down. It was selfish to not take this more seriously, and I will contact everyone, including Pennington's bees, to let them know. I'll update you, the awards, etc. Everything will happen, including the 12-hour stream, but I just don't know how I will feel now, being sick and all. So... Paul, that's how you say Paulie, Dean. Sorry. My Chantal impression sounds nothing like Chantal, but it is my impression. So, acknowledges she thinks she has COVID. Is that also the one where... No, I think it was the previous one. Acknowledges she has COVID. In the previous, now deleted community post, said she needed to use her CPAP to get air, which is concerning. Majorly concerning, if you ask my uneducated layperson opinion. Says she's going to contact Pennington's. Spoilers, I don't think she ever did. Girl, writing an email is too hard for you. Listening to your phone voicemail is too hard for you. I'm gonna assume Chantal comes across as quite a confrontational person, but I think when push comes to shove and she needs to take accountability for anything, she's the most unconfrontational. Recognizing like for like. It's just like, oh, I don't want to cause a... Well, no, she always causes stuff. No, I don't want to be held accountable, so let's do the thing to avoid being held accountable. Such as calling a retail store where you visited while you had COVID symptoms to say, hey, just an FYI, spray things down and possibly staff might need to, chill. Anyway, the awards are happening on Friday. I'm very excited. I need to talk to Pete. He's currently at grocery shopping. I need to talk to Pete about borrowing a ball gown, because if I can't get a ball gown, it's got to be a suit. Do I have a suit here? I don't know if I have a suit here. Anyway, I really want it to be a ball gown. So we'll see what we can do. My shoulders are much larger than his, though, so we'll see. But be prepared. So that's Saturday morning my time. Friday. Oh, good. That means I'll go and have a workout and then come back home, get in a ball gown, do the thing. Anyway, award ceremony. Fabulous. We'll talk about the terms of service around YouTube with all of that once again on Friday. No doubt, 12-hour stream, I can live without. Honestly, I agree. She is, yes, it's all bark, no bite. Yes. Yes. Zero commitment, zero acknowledgement, all bark. What was I going to say? 12-hour stream, probably not ever going to happen. What? Who are we kidding? Who are we kidding? And do you, chat, even if you encourage this 12-hour stream, do you want to sit through that? I'll tell you right now, I don't want to sit through that. I don't want to sit through 12 hours of laboured breathing and complaining. No, thank you. It's hard enough. It's hard enough in 4-hour blocks. 12 hours, it's just woof. Keto girl, hello. Keto says Zach is going to be all dressed up with no ball to attend. Possibly. If Saturday comes and goes, my time, if Saturday comes and goes, and there's no award ceremony, I'm going to be mildly upset. Mildly upset. Oh. Anyway, we then get to, an hour after that, we have this banger. Why do people... It's getting a bit queeny there. Why do people expect kind replies or reactions from me when they are being assholes and wishing my death? My vile replies were no more vile than most who... No more No, not anymore. Not any more vile than most who came here to my channel to be a jerk anyway. You don't get it. Is this gaslighting? It literally doesn't matter what I reply anymore, or what I prove or do, etc. It doesn't matter because you all think and believe what you want anyway. Yes, the privilege of the audience. If I answer truth, you don't believe it, so I was just replying what you, as a person who thinks I'm a monster, expects to hear in my replies to everyone in my deleted COVID post. In all honesty, I made the previous post to save face. I woke up and really didn't have any symptoms at the time I was at the store. I get run down a lot and feel sick because of that, but it's never COVID. Get tested. Prove it, mama. I didn't want to give anyone COVID for fuck's sake. I'm not the only person who makes fucking mistakes, and honestly, some of the shit some of you people on here do and say to me, and knew another... What? Do and say to me, and knew another is disgusting and... Nope, that does make sense. Examine yourselves. I'm not blocking people or deleting shit anymore, and I'm sure as hell not going to apologize every single fucking time I do something you have an issue with. People write dissertations in my comments, for fuck's sake, about issues they have with me, but still come here every day to take a shit on my channel. Shit and get off the pot already. Cancel me again. Whatever. I'm tired. Sorry, chat. Oh, that took a long walk. It took a long walk. Oh my god, Mika, hello. Hello. Dean, that's exactly how I was pronouncing it. Yes. Walking. Oh, I love the accent. Yes, that one can stay. Great. Okay, cool. None of this makes sense. This is just like, this should have been a live stream. I don't know why this was just a community post. Sure, she's feeling poorly. But but I wish it had been a live stream because it sounds like a banger. She really didn't appreciate everybody jumping to the obvious and worst case scenario conclusion, which is my approach personally. If other people choose to do that, that's fine. But whatevs. Great. Just being real mad on the internet, being real mad at the audience, and yeah, apparently she's just replying with what she thinks the audience wants to hear. I don't buy that for a second. She was in the comments, she was responding, she was being trash, don't get me wrong, but I don't think she was doing it for the audience's sake. I would think she was doing it because she's a shitty person. So that's it. Oh, I feel like I missed someone while I was reading. Sorry, Peapot, I do see you. Maybe not. Peapot, thank you very much for the super chat, I appreciate it. Peapot says, the Punisher requests that you say hell possums in Foodie's voice. I have seconded the request. Wait, hell possums or hello possums? Hello possums. Please wait. Why do people, there's the voice. Hello possums! It is very Dame Edna Everidge, isn't it? Perfect. Thank you, Peapot, for the super chat, and thank you, Punisher. We then get another community post saying, okay, what should the menu for the awards be? And I need an outfit as the Master of Ceremonies. I honestly, I didn't know the host ate. Like, they eat, but I didn't know the host ate while presenting awards. I think that's pretty bad taste, but, well, hey, because food, bad taste. And then we get this. Look. We all know what this is from. Oh, thanks for the fan art. We all know what this is from. This is from an Instagram post that was heavily filtered. Someone put time into making art of that Instagram post. Oh, it's the mouth for me, though. Just that aggressive tongue. Aggressive. Not a fan. Anyway, That's all the community post updates. Foodie's probably asleep and well. No, asleep and well. There we go. In bed. Look, she should have known. She should have taken responsibility. She should have cared about her community's health, but she doesn't, and she never does. And she crossed provincial borders, and she went to Quebec to hang out with her on again, off again boyfriend. She, God, just trash. But we've been saying trash since the start of the pandemic because she got told to stay home, and she was like, "No, I am defiant. I will go out and get a flat burger if I want one because I am essential." Anyway, we're going to get straight into mukbangs. Mukbangs. Oh, JR, I did. Let me see if I can pull it up. I did. I don't use Twitter a lot, but I saw my notifications doing the thing. Yes. Twice as nice TJ. Wait, is that TJ in the chat? No, JR. Letters are hard. Twice as nice TJ over on Twitter did an amazing thread of WWE characters with reaction channels faces on them, including quotes directly from the channels, and I loved it. I gotta like it while I'm here. Like the thing. Like the thing. There we go. I like the thing. Look, I don't use Twitter that often, but it's incredible. Anyway, check it out if you'd like. Right, we're going to get into mukbangs. Let's get into mukbangs. Better times, chat. A year and a half ago. Better times. Yeah. And if you haven't seen these time warps, well, welcome. Okay, so we're going chronological order of era, not of posting. So it does jump from late August, mid-August, early September, mid-August. But anyway, I want it chronological because that way we're traveling through the eras. We will watch it at 1.5, I guess. Anyway, Foodie from a year and a half ago, take it away.
Hello, Foodie Beauties.
God, the cats look different, don't they?
I want you to draw me like one of your French girls, Sam. Oh, yes. I want you...
A little less matted, a little less weed smoke layered coats, I would say.
To draw me like one of your French girls.
1912, right? Titanic. Is that the music? Is that the music playing on the Titanic? I know the only musical score I can remember from the film is the quartet going down with the ship. That sounded a little bit more Charleston-y. Whatever. Okay. Menu. Oh, she even put the date. 1912. There you go. Main course. Saute? Chicken a la Lyonnaise? Sure. Chateau potatoes, punch romaine, capital R? Chocolate eclairs with fresh cream. Spoilers, she didn't make the eclairs, but she makes the rest of this. Lindsay says the song sounds 20. Yeah, I think it sounds 20 as well.
Hey guys, hey, how are you?
Oh my god! Oh my god! Chantal in a wig. Oh, sometimes I do get excited about what could have been and what was versus where we are and what is. Because what is trash garbage mama, and this is just, this isn't great, but it's better. It's so much better. Rose realness, Ollie. Rose realness. Yes. Don't let go, Jack. I know people hated this wig, and this wig turned into a cat toilet, but I loved this. I loved this look. I love the wig. I love the sequins. Do I think mesh and gold sequins is the epitome of Tudor? Is it Tudor or Edwardian? It's the end of the Edwardian era, I think. Costumery? No. Is she going for a realistic look? No. So it doesn't matter. I do peep the corner of the green screen up here, which is fabulous. Oh, when Foodie put in effort. Oh, better times for content.
welcome to your first class experience on the Titanic. The year is 1912. I have some expensive
Just listening to her. Oh, memories. Okay, go.
champagne.
Sorry, we do have 5 videos to get through today, so I'll try not to, like, nostalgia-ism all over it. Because it was only a year and a half ago, but also that is actual champagne, not $10 sparkling wine, so good for you.
Would you crack open?
I'm not a big fan of Ruinart is my champagne of choice, but go off.
I'm going to have a wonderful meal. So let's crack this baby open and follow me to D-Deck for some fine dining. Does anyone know who this is? Yeah, I can totally do this.
I can't remember her first name, but she's known as the Widow Clicquot. She's coined as initiating the turn. I can't remember what it's called. The turn mechanic, which is where you bottle the champagne and you turn it like a degree or a half a degree or a quarter of a degree or something every year to stop sediment buildup and like cork rot and stuff. The Widow Clicquot. That's who that is.
I'm first class.
Hello, everyone. Hello, joining.
I know how to open
Hello,
the
everyone
champagne.
joining. Hello.
Okay.
Don't put a hole in your ceiling.
I did it. I did it. Okay.
Congrats.
So let's get to. Hey guys. Hey.
Hello,
I'm just
Kenzie.
here in the...
Lovely to see you today. And we've got a green screen set up. We are sitting in... I'm unsure whether or not this is a historical recreation. No, it's not from the film. It's not grand enough to be from the film. Right, a historical recreation of the Titanic dining room, perhaps? Or maybe just a fancy dining room.
pre-dinner lounge enjoying a punch romaine, as you see me make. Oh, that is really good and really refreshing. I'm just waiting for dinner, and I think dinner should be arriving anytime now. Here we have.
Madam.
Thank you, G.
Oh, not Pete saying madam. Oh, no. No, ma'am. Okay.
Leaves. Oh, okay. Yum, okay. Oh, wow. Look at that.
Okay, to be fair, the potatoes look banging. I would eat that entire plate of potatoes, absolutely. The chicken, I'm a chicken connoisseur. Chicken and broccoli pretty much every day. It's a little wet. But we'll see.
Thank you, Jeeves. Thank you. Wow. Okay. This looks magnificent.
Sophia says, wait, she's not greened out. Yes. Yes, she's not. This was before the weeds era. It was.
Doesn't it? This alcoholic beverage, though. Yummy.
So the punch romaine, I remember this being a specific talking point. It wasn't served as a cocktail. It was served as a palate cleanser. But whatever. It's fine. She needed a beverage, and the champagne wasn't good enough.
Much? Okay. Now, you can eat in your room.
Punch romaine.
Oh, check that.
I'll read the ingredients. 1 egg white, 1 ounce of white rum, 1 ounce of white wine, 1 ounce of simple syrup, 1 ounce of lemon juice, 1 ounce of fresh orange juice, 2 ounces of champagne or sparkling wine, and a twist of orange peel. It's kind of like is it granita? So like a frozen ice, and the way you make it is that you mix everything together. This can go for any, not sorbet, but like crushed ice. Granita? Granita. Basically, put it in a shallow container, put it in the freezer. Every 30 minutes to an hour, go back to it and go at it with a fork. It'll eventually set up freezing, but it won't set in a block. It'll set up all fluffy and light. And then you close the lid of the container, keep it in the freezer, lasts for like 3 to 6 months, and you can just kind of help yourself as you go. I made a bangin' mint and lime. So like a, mojito. Like a mojito-inspired granita. Delicious.
Later for the dessert.
Thank you.
I am French now. I was British before, but now I am French. Oh.
You won't be getting a good tip. Now, this is my costume.
Did the staff on the Titanic get tips?
I ordered this heart of the ocean thinking it would be bigger. It actually is really small.
It's tiny.
Anyways,
It's like your tits are too big.
Whoa.
get out of here. Go to your quarters, servant. How incredibly rude. So, yeah, I think my fiance is just too cheap and you know, some of you may know a lot about the Titanic. The things that are more commonly known about the Titanic, we know that
Currently reading up on crew salaries for the Titanic.
she sank during her maiden voyage on April 15th, 1912. Over 1,500 people perished in the sinking of the ship. It was a very, very tragic story. It's been romanticized so many times. James Cameron, and I'm dressed up as a fictional character, Rose Dawson. Yes, because I can't.
There were 2 other films of the Titanic, right? 2 other films. I know there was at least one other film, but I'm sure there were 2 other films. 2 other major motion pictures. And there was a musical, the Titanic musical.
Remember her other real last name? It was long. We all know that the Titanic did an iceberg.
You can thank all of this like auxiliary information that's coming out of my brain. Thank Lindsay Ellis for that, because the wonderful pop culture documentaries, including one on Titanic.
In Southampton to New York City. It had over 2,200 people on board, and a lot of very, very wealthy people, a lot of very rich people, such as the unsinkable Molly Brown, who was the Nouvelle Riche, had a lot of Nouvelle Riche with the
was a stage musical,
Industrial Revolution.
Lily, thank you very much for being here for 11 months. Lily says, my fiancé is just too cheap. Foreshadowing. Very well said. Lovely to see you today, Lily. Happy 11 months.
And brought about a lot of money and wealth during the Edwardian time, and because of King Edward. And it's just a very opulent, very luxurious time. And so a lot of people were wanting to spend their money. And the Titanic was a way to spend that money, because you could, for thousands of dollars.
Okay, it wasn't really just a let's drop stacks situation type deal for the Titanic, but sure.
First class ticket.
I mean, it kind of was. 1, it was a mode of transportation, but 2, it was kind of like it was the place to be.
Would be living the life of luxury.
Titanic, as per
It was
Wikipedia.
the symbol of luxury at the time.
Bit of that
Even
joke.
those in
Jack.
the second and third classes were living pretty well on that trip. Even if you had a second or third class, you were doing pretty well on the Titanic. Eating roast beef and boiled vegetables, and just it was great. It was pretty luxurious for second and
Weird. Sorry, I'm not used to editing.
in third class. So I'm going to be eating. I made a couple dishes from the first class, because what I didn't realize is how kind of complicated it was to make items from the menu, and this seemed to be the easiest one, because a lot.
They were trained chefs. So, hey, do you know what's interesting? This plating looks better than Old Mate's. Let's run with a theory, shall we? Foodie could cook better than Old Mate given the opportunity. Yeah. Given the motivation, given the will to do it, I think so. This plating is not, does not look like a kindergartner made a son on a plane.
A lot of the dishes were
It's
French
true,
inspired
though,
by
Dean.
a very famous chef, Auguste Escoffier, and he was he's the one who came up with this whole shaved ice, alcohol over shaved ice, and this is a punch romaine, and it is just absolutely delicious.
It's very wet. Oh, you're dribbling.
Very refreshing, and it was used as more of a palate cleanser in between courses.
Yes.
But I'm having it now. I actually didn't think I could ever make this. Shaking the egg whites, zesting the fruit, shaving the ice, which you can just do in your
I love the picture-in-picture here. The wig and costume just in the background. This is more the vibe I'm used to at the moment.
which I didn't know. But so these are called chateau potatoes. These are chateau potatoes.
House
and
potatoes.
the idea behind the chateau potatoes are usually served with a very popular French dish called the chateaubriand, which is a tenderloin way of cooking tenderloin beef. But these were served on I cooked dish from the first class menu.
That means nothing to me because I hear chateau, I hear house, and that just means it's however the chef is preparing it, but sure, whatever.
That I saw from the menu on the last day of the Titanic. I think it was, the 14th. And so I'm going to show you how I cook these. I'm going to insert that clip now. So to start off, you're going to want to use small potatoes.
Guys, we're being treated. It's unfortunate that when we get to the 80s, it's so basic, but we are being treated today cooking with Foodie. It's been a
You're
minute.
supposed to peel them, but these are too small to peel, so I left it on. These are small yellow.
Personally, well, they're not too small to peel the skin, but personally, I love potato skin. I make a red curry with sweet potato in it. Every time I do, I refuse to remove the skin because 1, it helps the pieces stay intact while they're cooking, and 2, extra fiber. Who doesn't love extra fiber? Everybody loves extra fiber. Holly, thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Holly says, prisoner's dilemma. Do you choose Old Mate's chain smoking over your food or Chantal's pee-pee hands? I choose death. Oh, no, there's a wasp. No. Get away. anything except for Old Mates, I guess. Like, if it had to be done, it would be Chantal's food. The hope with Chantal's food is that she cooks it at a high enough temperature that her pee hands have a nil effect. Old Mate, though, I would have to live with the knowledge that Old Mate prepared my food. Yeah.
Potatoes. You can use new potatoes, fingerling potatoes, or just cut up large potatoes smaller. But the idea with chateau potatoes is to cook these potatoes in lots of butter. So you're going to need the potatoes and about half a stick of butter.
Santiago said, Titanic cuisine, my way.
I used salted butter, but you can use unsalted. It'll just make a difference how much salt you put on after the potatoes are cooked. I forgot to get some footage of what the potatoes looked coming out of the oven, but my oven is preheated to 400 degrees.
God, I love potatoes.
While I'm sauteing these potatoes in the butter just until they get a little bit browned, and then I'm going to put them in the oven with all that butter.
See, the thing is, I don't have patience with any form of potato, sweet potato, whatever. I will always microwave them with a bit of water just to soften them up, because I cannot wait 25 minutes for potatoes to cook through. Not
sauce.
happening.
And I also popped in 2
T.
whole
Higgins,
cloves
lovely
of
to
garlic.
see you
Now, this
today.
is optional, but it just
Hello, good
kind
evening.
of gives it a bit more flavor. So I'm just going to put it in whole like that. And after they've cooked for a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes, I'm going to pop them into the 400-degree oven until they're brown and crispy, but tender on the inside and full of this rich, buttery flavor.
Those whole cloves of garlic are kind of sending me, though. Just mince them up. Fine.
So as you can see, the idea behind them is to get them nice and brown and buttery.
They
You know,
look
it's the whole
so.
idea.
They look so good, and that's a whole heap of butter. Fat and carbs get in me. Miss Merritt, hello. Thank you very much for the super chat. Miss Merritt says the Titanic had their own Marconi radio system to send and receive telegrams. So in a way, Foodie could have live streamed on the Titanic source. Well, there's your problem podcast. Miss Merritt, thank you very much for the information and for the super chat. Lovely to see you today. That's very cool. I mean, I knew they had some form of radio, but telegraph. That's very cool. Very interesting. Foodie could have live streamed this.
Chateau potatoes is cooking them in a rich butter. So everything was very rich in French cuisine, and everything was very decadent. So let's try these potatoes.
God, they
Yeah,
do
you
look
like-
good. They're so glossy that they're reflecting the green screen. Butter.
Oh my god. French are onto something. No, but
The French are into something. Yeah, cookery.
putting them in the butter, instead of roasting them like I usually roast them in olive oil, gives it such a different flavor.
Mate, she hasn't cooked a vegetable in months. Oh, God. Sorry. Sometimes I just snap back to 2022, and it's like, ooh, I miss it.
Oh man, that is really, really good. Try to be a lady, not pig out. Wow. Let's try this. This is
Okay.
another French dish called chicken sauté. Chicken sauté à la lyonnaise. À la lyonnaise means with onions in a sauce, mostly a wine
Okay, chicken and onions sauteed. Got it.
sauce. This is a wine tomato onion sauce. As you've seen,
Right.
I'm gonna insert the clip now of how I actually prepared this dish.
Yes.
So you're going to cut up
Oh, man, look, she's not touching the chicken breast with her bare
some
hands.
large chicken breasts into pieces,
Also, love a chicken breast.
and they need to be boneless and skinless, and you're going to put a generous amount of salt and pepper on them. Then you're going to put them in 1 egg that I had beaten, and you're going to dredge the...
Do you know what? It's not great, like, form, but I'll give her credit for being able to, like, do all of this while filming. Also, Wildrose, exactly. Wildrose says this is why we thought she could cook. She can a bit when she's not greened out. I don't think she's not been greened out in, like, months. If not, we're getting close to a year. Tanya, thank you very much for the super chat. Tanya said, for some chicken and broccoli, we're both staying off carbs. Oh, mate, it's hard. I've had to reintroduce... So I was at, like, 15% carbohydrates. I'm now having to push it up to, like, 30% carbohydrates, because it turns out when you go to the gym and you don't have carbs in you, lifting heavy is a real hard thing. Really, really hard. But it's all whole food based, so that's fun.
soak the chicken breast, I guess, in the egg
Mostly sweet potato.
mixture and just mix it around so that it's coating the chicken. So the recipe calls for 1/3 cup of flour with some thyme and salt.
I didn't know they had Old Bay back in 1912.
I didn't have any thyme at my grocery store, I guess was out, so I put some Old Bay seasoning. Now you can substitute with an herb of your choice,
Sure.
but I like Old Bay seasoning with poultry, so I'm going to use that as my flour dredge, and you're going
Not gonna lie, never tried Old Bay. What's in Old Bay?
to coat the chicken breast in the flour and tap off the excess. After you've coated the chicken pieces, put them on a plate and let them sit for about 5 minutes while you're heating up some oil in a pan.
She can cook. She can cook. She can cook as well as Old Mate. and she plates better. I'll argue
We've
it.
heated a couple
all
tablespoons
day.
of olive oil.
Morning,
Place
Emma.
the chicken in a saucepan and fry them over medium heat until
Recliner, I agree. Like, sometimes I just go back like a year or 2 years, and we talk about it quite often. It feels like she's a completely different person. Like, you can see that she's lost weight, yes. We know what that journey was. Not healthy, do not recommend. But, like, I don't know. It is also because it's recorded content, so she's kind of, like, putting her best foot forward and on her best behavior. Like, she's not raging out at people. She's not, using slurs. She's not doing any of that stuff. But even the recorded content that she's made recently, she still comes across as a completely different character.
golden brown on both sides, after which you're going to
that's
place them in a 225-degree oven. That's the color you're looking for from frying the chicken pieces. While the chicken's in the oven, you're going to use the same pan.
Miss B, I like, everyone's a different audience member, and we'll all come to a different conclusion. But I think she's lost weight. She looks different. Now, is it the full 70 pounds she claims? Maybe, possibly. I mean, you can look back a year ago and see it's quite, specifically around the my 400-pound life, obesity, that particular video. Like I can see it, but whether or not the number is the number, that's up to you guys to
Add
decide.
a couple more tablespoons of olive oil, 1 large thinly sliced onion, and 2 diced cloves of garlic, as well as, you can add the thyme now, but I'm going to add the Old Bay seasoning, and I'm just going to cook that
No, bunny,
until
my
the
hair.
onions are a nice golden brown color. Now I'm going to add about 1/3 cup of wine. I'm using my champagne, because that's all I had on hand, but you can use any wine of your choice.
What a waste.
And I'm going to let that cook out the alcohol. Alright, now I'm adding about 2 teaspoons of tomato paste, and I'm just going to let that cook for a couple of minutes just to get rid of that
Yes.
strong, acidic, tomatoey taste that tomato paste can give off.
Add a bit of sugar. Something sweet.
And now I'm adding 1.5 cups of chicken stock
Delicious.
and a little less than a teaspoon of white sugar. And now I'm just going to stir that around, and I'm going to let this thicken up and reduce
Delicious.
before I add the chicken back in to cook. Alright, so I've added the chicken pieces back into the sauce, and I'm just going to let that cook for another few minutes until the chicken is no longer pink on the inside.
I don't have wine, but I'm going to make this. I think I'm going to make this tomorrow night. Because I've got paste, I've got onions, I've got chicken breast, obviously. And I'll just use stock, no wine. Easy. Yeah, nice. Easy.
So yes, and I've coated all the chicken pieces with the thickened sauce and the yummy caramelized onions. So there you have it.
100%
This is the
Lily.
chicken a la lyonnaise.
All right, so you've seen how I made it? Let's try a piece here. Oh, wow. Okay, Pete took his upstairs, and he liked it, so
Well, that's good.
beauty bite. Man, they were eating good on the Titanic.
Mo, this is a year and a half old.
Man, that chicken is tender. Oh, look how tender it is. And it's breast meat. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I have to make this for, company.
Oh, really, Santiago? Nice. Definitely going to give it a
I
try.
got a whole mixology kit just for this occasion.
I wonder where that is. Appliance graveyard, currently.
Cheers.
I would
Oh,
say.
this is good. That is so refreshing. The fresh orange juice, the fresh lemon juice, the zest, the champagne, the rum. Oh. The egg white, I don't even taste it. It just kind of made it a bit frothy.
Very, right? It got worse.
Almost like a meringue. You could actually...
We always
Wait,
say
a version where you make a
we
meringue
always say it gets better, but sometimes it doesn't.
with the egg white and top it. And you're supposed to have a decorative orange peel. I don't know how to do that.
Literally the recipe I looked at. Yep.
I tried. Never worked out. I don't have the appropriate tool, I guess. So, if you were lucky enough to be in first class, you had, of course, on the Titanic.
I just want to say, look, I eat a lot of chicken breasts, and I don't know if they're all small or they've just been halved. I think they're small. That's like 5 chicken breasts on the plate. In context, I eat 2 chicken breasts a day. That's 5. And if it's not 5, it's 2.5 very large breasts that have been sliced in half. Oof. Not mad at the plate of potatoes, though. I would destroy all of that.
The creme de la creme of fine dining. You still ate well in second and third, like I said, but it was more basic. The first class was so luxurious. You had cigar rooms. You
that's
had
interesting, Kenzie.
different restaurants on different decks, and dining would take hours sometimes.
Do you use a
There was
binder?
like 11 courses in first class.
AC, hello. Lovely to
Seems
see
like-
you. They're not chicken thighs, they're
All they do
breasts.
is eat and drink. So a sample menu here would be, they would start with like hors d'oeuvres, oysters, fresh oysters. Were
Hors d'oeuvres? Hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres? Hors d'oeuvres.
popular. Caviar, canapes,
Canaps, yes. Familiar.
shrimp canapé with like shrimp butter on a cracker.
Delicious.
Then you would have roasted potatoes, jacket potatoes. Foie gras was very popular,
Ooh, nice.
with like filet mignon, foie gras, filet mignon lily. This chicken was on there, these potatoes. Desserts were different fruits, fresh fruits and cheeses, and chocolate eclairs with cream inside. And I did
can't
visit
wait.
a French bakery, so that's going to come next.
Pole, whore or whore? Whore or hors d'oeuvres? Hors d'oeuvres, right? Hors d'oeuvres.
Even the champagne I bought, I was going to get like a bottle of like Spumante Bambino, but I was like, I'm going to splurge. It was like $50 for that little bottle of champagne, and it actually is like so good.
Of course it's good. Well, raw nut's better, but
It was a
my
real treat.
opinion is.
I feel like I'm in first class. All I need is a lever from third class. I don't know. What would you guys pick? Like, sometimes I'm like, when I watch the movie The Titanic, and she has that husband of hers who's really an ass, but he gives her this huge diamond.
Played by Billy Zane, who also played the Phantom of all things. Ooh, memory.
And then you have oral Jack. Would you take good sex over the biggest, most valuable diamond in the world?
Well, she got the diamond in the end and the good sex, so like win-win for Rose. I mean, she lost Jack obviously, but win-win.
I mean, her fiance wasn't bad looking. He had weird eyebrows, but
Okay, be nice.
no one can beat Leo, especially in the 90s.
Personally, I prefer like Leo aged up a little bit as opposed to Titanic era Leo, but that's my personal preference.
The crispy bits and the butter flavor. The wine sauce with the caramelized onions and I'm gonna try a piece of chicken and a potato at the same time.
I'll use palm to
So
bind.
delicious.
Okay,
I'm telling you.
Kenzie. An egg. Sounds good though.
I think there's more punch.
Eri, the Phantom holds a special place in my memory, yes.
Oh, I didn't spill. Okay.
Romeo and Juliet Leo. Romeo and Juliet Leo, he's a little... I mean, it's the source material. He's still a little whiny for me, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
don't come at
a
me.
history buff. I wanted to focus more on the food and just kind of recreate what they ate for a mukbang.
Good morning, Linda.
I know some people were interested in conspiracy theories around the Titanic.
I'm not interested in that at all.
I'm not really interested in conspiracy theories, honestly.
Same
as a
go.
whole. But apparently there was a sister ship to the Titanic called the Olympic. So the photos I show you, there's
Nat, she's using Verve in a cocktail, yes. She also used Verve in this cooking sauce for this chicken. I'm sorry to break your heart.
one photo that that exists of the actual Titanic dining area. The rest are from the Olympic. However, both ships were pretty much identical in style, architecture style. Very neoclassical. They had pillars. It was just very, very decked out and very fancy. They had like pillars with the head of Neptune and Ceres, the goddess of agriculture, and Neptune, of course, the god of the sea.
Yeah.
Cheers. Oh yeah.
I have noticed, I've been watching a little bit of older school Foodie, and she had this, you can see it, we don't talk about physicality that much, but you can see it, these red, like, razors on her arms, and I don't know, man. I don't know if it's the new phone and the filter doing all the heavy lifting, and they still actually exist, but I haven't been able to clock them for a minute, so weird things that you notice from a while back that you keep an eye out for currently.
That's such a good drink, man. And I'm not like a huge drinker because I generally don't much like alcohol.
Sam,
as a whole,
hello.
but I do like good drinks that are well made.
Lovely to see you.
That mixology kit will come in handy for like parties or company
Never
for
seen
myself.
again. Never seen again.
for my videos.
Never seen it.
For my videos.
Oh, you think it's
Oh,
the
man.
cat, Lily? Maybe.
I need to do more French cuisine. French onion soup.
Which she does do, and I reacted to because she dressed up as Belle from Beauty and the Beast to make French onion soup. It was a lot.
Cookie Saint-Jacques.
I really want to make this chicken, though.
So good.
It does look good. I don't know if I'll fry it, though.
So yeah. A lot of the time you would wait in the lounge. Pre-dinner lounge.
Maybe a shallow fry.
And then they would have what was called a bugler, if I'm saying that right. Announce dinner.
Uh-huh. Somehow this content
love-
is both better and worse.
To dine like that. Like just I haven't been to that
Why
fancy of a
Belle?
restaurant
Because Beauty and the Beast. French onion soup.
serve like that
Bit
many
of a
courses.
stretch, but you get there. Baked. This chicken baked would be really good, Lindsay, actually.
I would love to someday. That would be awesome. Wouldn't it? Okay. So yeah, there would be, if we were really in first class, there would be so many more courses than this, just this.
Look, this is still better than what we get present day, so I'm
And I bet
happy.
you the portions would be rather small, so that you can eat them all. And then after dinner, the men would have brandy and cigars in another room, the smoke room. Women probably gossiped. Oh, waiter! I'm finished my meal, and I would like my dessert, please.
Okay, well, she only ate 3 chicken breasts. Fine. All that good protein.
I'm back to being British now, if you were wondering.
Oh.
Now we gotta get to the sweet stuff.
This comes highly recommended from the chef.
Ooh.
Pause game strong. Ooh, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I am not a giant fan of eclairs. Generally, like, dessert pastry tends to be too light. Like, French dessert pastry tends to be too light for my liking, and these look processed as hell. That cream looks fake as heck, but anyway.
Ooh, those-
Which is you.
Yes, 3.
What are they?
They're 3 eclairs. These
What
are
are these?
huge as well. These are like this.
Chocolate eclairs.
Chocolate eclairs.
AC, I agree. Eclairs feel like they definitely need texture. They're just soft and light and just... I'd put my calories elsewhere if I were purchasing a dessert. That's all I'm saying.
Dropping his Kit Kats on the ground. Excuse me.
Well done, madam.
Cannoli.
It was Jack.
Albatrosities, absolutely. Cannoli, I'd prefer.
Jolly good show, madam.
Get out of here, Jeeves. So, like I said, I got these from a French bakery.
Jesus,
that
they're
bakery was
huge.
beautiful. And this is my shawl.
They're
My
like
shawl.
sausages.
Oh. This is a chocolate eclair with cream filling. Like real cream, like good cream.
I don't... That it looks like mock cream. That's
Right?
That's not good cream. Ugh. Too light. And generally, like, purchasing these, I always find the pastry a little bit too dry. It's just not for me.
Oh,
The
wow.
eclairs aren't for me. Sorry. Hot dog bun
Don't
with
worry.
Cool Whip. Bury that, peep.
These are low in calorie. How else do you think I wear my corset? This punch romaine. It's got me feeling frisky.
Is it?
Piece of orange.
Harry comes in with the clarification, real cream is not
Oh, man.
bleach white. No.
I cannot bake, so I didn't make these.
The reason why the colour is called cream. And not, like,
But you know what?
this, like tissue paper white.
When I watch footage of them exploring the wreck of the Titanic, it just seems so surreal, does it not? Like, just as all that remains is this ghost of shattered dreams. I mean, they go inside the vessel, and there's the remnants of the grand staircase, and you see the china, the fine china.
Look at this editing, putting photos and stuff in.
You see the fancy fireplace, you see the fancy paneling on the walls, and just to think that it was such a dream back in the day. I mean, you know, the Titanic carried tons of Irish immigrants, immigrants from Scandinavia, Great Britain, and, you know, it's the ship of dreams. She was traveling to New York. A lot of people wanted to make it in America, and, you know, the Titanic was carrying a lot of these people. That's why they called it the ship of dreams. And those who were newly wealthy or the richest people, you could express that as being in first class. And, you know, it's just so tragic. And
yeah, it's pretty sad.
It's really too bad. And, you know, when I would hear them say things like the ship is unsinkable, they were pretty cocky, to the point of them not even having, like, only having 20 lifeboats on board, and not even having enough for all of the. I think the lifeboats could carry up to 1,200 passengers, and there was like double.
Didn't the sinking of the Titanic push like a lot of reform for additional life drafts on boats? Am I misremembering?
So that's pretty cocky, you know, and you're just asking for tragedy. You know, Murphy's Law. If something bad can happen, it will, especially if you jinx it like that.
After the Titanic sank, rules were changed to require every vessel to include enough lifeboat space for every person on board, according to the Merchant Shipping Advisory Committee at the time, from the New York Daily News. There you go.
And sure enough, it did happen. It's just really too bad.
There you go.
And really sad. It's like really messed up. You see like boots underwater, and you just picture like how it was in 1912. They didn't have very much time to enjoy the trip. I mean, I think they set sail on April 10th, 1912, and the ship hit the iceberg at 11:40 on the 14th. And then everything, all of that wealth, all of that fancy decor, the grand staircase.
Okay, but the people though.
Okay, so the
people.
The dining rooms, everything, the fine china, everything was underwater like 2.5 hours later at the bottom of the Atlantic. And it's just crazy when you really think about it, you know? So
Is it? I mean, yeah,
I don't know.
It's shocking,
really tragic. But this was really fun, just even getting to kind of relive how they were eating and for that time. And that meal was really delicious. Like, I was surprised at how it turned out, actually. So, but everything was just cooked so rich. You know, like they had this dish that was like salmon with mozzarella.
Okay, she's just going back on old stuff now. All right, thank you, Titanic, Chantal. It's time for 1920s, Chantal. Let's get to.
Hello, Foodie Beauties.
Sam, you're not supposed to be lounging.
She got the correct
It's the
ocean.
1920s. You're supposed to be doing the Charleston. Get up, Lizzie. Get into character.
It is the same music she used. I knew it. Albatrocities, thank you very much for the super chat. Albatrocities says, submechanophobia, the fear of partially or fully submerged man-made objects. Interesting. Thank you for the super chat and for the knowledge, Albatrocities. I appreciate it. I think, not to get grim, but like, fear of drowning is real, right? I think it's the worst way to go. Personally, again, don't mean to get grim when we're about to get all up in the Charleston, but just saying. I've seen Foodie make that face before.
Hello, Foodie Beauties. Welcome to another Time Warp video. So
Oh my god. I don't know whether or not I have nostalgia for this video or for Milk Tea's reaction to this video. Either way, better times.
Time period is going to be the Roaring 20s. Yes, I will get more into the Roaring 20s when we sit down to eat dinner. A nice meal prepared by me, inspired by the 1920s.
Okay, those are the top three, though, everybody. Burned, buried, drowned. I still think drowned is the worst. Because drowned gives you... Like, it's less painful, sure, but you're consciously aware that everything's kind of happening, and you're... I don't know. I don't know. But it's all awful. Let's get off the topic.
What I'm about to show you, Foodie Beauties, is a recipe for dinner. And I'll talk more about it when we sit down to eat. Like I said, what I'm about to show you is a recipe for a sandwich a delicious hot sandwich called the prosperity sandwich.
This was not the dish. This was not the dish.
Let's get to.
Alright guys, here are the ingredients at a glance of what you will need to make this prosperity sandwich. Alright, so first thing you will need here is some unsalted butter. You'll need a total of 5 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard of choice. You will also need 2 cups of whole milk. Also, you will need deli meat, so you'll need 2 ounces of ham and 2 ounces of deli turkey.
This is a lot.
And you will need also 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Now you're going to want a really good, hearty, fresh baked bread, and I'm using sourdough, fresh sourdough bread. It looks delicious. 1 shallot, diced, and I used a package of white mushrooms. Now, 8 ounces will do as well if you don't want to use the whole package. Also, 2 cups of grated sharp cheddar cheese. I also forgot to mention that you're going to need 2 teaspoons of, don't make me say it, but Worcestershire sauce. I probably said that wrong.
Worcester.
Melt 1 tablespoon of butter in a large saucepan and saute the shallots with the mushrooms until brown. Once the mushrooms are done, put them in a bowl and set aside.
Harry, thank you very much for the super chat. Harry says she has lowered our expectations so much I'm finding myself giving her props for effort. This was a long on everybody. It was a little bit. Like I said, different era, different character. Like, oh, how different we are now.
Next, heat the remaining 4 tablespoons of butter.
This is a sandwich.
Add the 2 tablespoons of flour and whisk it together to make a roux and cook for about a minute. After that, I've slowly added the 2 cups of milk, and I'm just going to bring that to a simmer over medium heat and whisk until it gets thick, at which point I will remove the pot from the heat and whisk in the 1 cup of shredded cheddar, the mustard and the Worcestershire sauce.
Right, mustard, bechamel. Got it.
You can add a pinch of pepper if you want here, but I wouldn't add any salt because the sauce is going to be salty with the cheese and Worcestershire sauce already.
Yeah.
Look at this thick, decadent sauce.
God,
Yeah.
it does look good though.
In the meantime, preheat your broiler on high. Now this recipe makes 4 servings, but I'm just going to make 2, so I cut 2 pieces of bread. You want to do it
No, that's half a piece of bread and a piece and a half of bread.
about 3/4 of an inch thick. I need to invest in a good bread knife, so this is my problem here. They're uneven, but whatever. It's going to taste just as delicious, I'm sure. You're going to put them under the broiler each side for about 2 minutes each, just to get it nicely toasted on each side. Once the bread is toasted, now we are going to start assembling the sandwich before putting
Very that L.
them under the broiler bin. So here you just want to add the mushroom mixture. That's hard to say. Divided among the pieces of bread, among the 4 if you're making a 4
Mushroom toast. Who's having mushroom toast for dinner and or breakfast? Mushroom toast sounds good though.
serving, but like I said,
Mushroom toast, mushrooms, butter, chives, bread. What else do you need?
I'm going to add extra
An egg. Gotta have an egg.
to mine. That's the benefit of only making 2 servings, albeit huge ones, but still. So I'm going to divide the mixture here among the 2 pieces of toast. Oh, this looks so good. I also forgot to mention that this recipe does call for 2 slices of tomato on each piece.
Okay. Losing me a little bit here. Why would you not, like, pan-sear the tomato? Personally, I'd want to pan-sear the tomato to get, like, I don't know what it is, but roasted tomato or even pan-seared tomato just adds a lot more sweetness to that, like, cooked element. Okay. Losing me here, foodie.
Now we are going to add the 2 ounces of ham and turkey deli meat. I just had whatever I had in the fridge. I don't know if that's 2 ounces or not, but it's going to have to do.
It's quite...
Alright, now I'm adding the
God.
decadent cheese sauce. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. Thick, creamy sauce. I'm going to put extra on mine, like I said, because I have extra because I'm only doing the 2 servings.
Saucy gal, yeah.
So that gives us the benefit of just taking the liberty and just drenching these babies with sauce.
This is very chaotic, yes, Lucy.
And now we're just going to top them with the
It's at speed with this music.
the remaining 1 cup of shredded cheddar. I used a sharp cheddar, but you can use whatever cheese you like.
More cheese.
Now I'm going to pop these bad boys back into the broiler, probably just for a couple minutes until the cheese is bubbly.
Toast should never be wet. No to wet
Alright,
toast.
fresh out of the oven, and oh my
Woof.
goodness, this looks absolutely delicious.
Having flashbacks to Chantal just microwaving grated cheese and eating it. This makes sense. This makes sense.
So, let's eat.
Welcome back, Foodie Beauties. Okay, this has turned out, look at this. I mean, this is
A mountain of sandwich.
indeed a prosperity sandwich. It deserves its name.
Is it?
It's rich looking, it's decadent looking.
This
and I'm
is
sure
something I feel like Heart Attack Grill would reappropriate.
it's gonna taste like that. Now this flopper has a lot of dancing to do tonight. I gotta do Charleston all over the dance hall. So, and then I'm gonna go down to the speakeasy and have a few drinks. So, and then we're gonna have a long night of partying. So we need our nutrition, our prosperity sandwich. And doesn't this look like its name, like it deserves its name? It looks rich, it looks decadent.
No.
I'm sure it's gonna taste like that. All right.
It looks rich as hell. It does not look decadent. It, like... Oh, boy. Oh, my heart hurts. I'm having... symbiotic cholesterol issues. Oh.
Now, so what we have here to drink, first of all, it would not be a Roaring 20s without some kind of alcohol beverage. Now, this is not the highest quality gin for this gin and tonic with fresh lime, but it is a typical drink.
I don't think she tells us what type of gin it is, which is unfortunate.
For the 20s, you know, they had the Prohibition, so a lot of the...
You should, just as a note, miss, treat yourself and put some ice in that drink. Treat
For those
yourself.
of you who don't know, of course, Prohibition is a constitutional ban on alcohol. So whenever you take somebody's alcohol away, they just make more. And unfortunately, a lot of it was cheap, you know, whiskey and gin. But today we're having a gin and tonic with cheap gin, but it's going to taste
It
good.
looks warm. Don't drink that warm, love.
Because it's forbidden, you know? So cheers.
Just as a note, not forbidden everywhere in the 1920s, but whatever.
Got a nice burn? Yes. Okay. I'm going to need a heavy-duty knife and fork for this, guys. All right, I'm going to try this one here.
Holy shit. Steel cutlery. That's been a while.
Ooh, okay. This looks amazing.
If it's not wooden,
Let's
I
take a
don't
bite
want
and I'm
it.
going to talk a bit about the sandwich, okay?
Hello, Grace. Lovely to see you.
Let's get some of this.
Oh, tabs. Yes, Kevin and the McCallisters have been in and out. Kevin's doing well. Must have flown. Must have flown at some point because not there anymore.
Extra sauce here.
But we heard them a little earlier.
Oh, that's cheesy.
And plates. Well, this isn't a plate. She's eating off
All
a
right.
baking sheet.
Can't mess up my flapper outfit. Ooh, that's got a lot going on. That's so
Yeah, it's got a
delicious,
lot
that
going on.
sauce. With the sharp cheddar and the Dijon and the Worcester sauce.
I don't think you'd be able to taste any of those finer flavors under Cheese Mountain. I don't.
And the smoky deli meat, the mushrooms, the bread, the sourdough fresh.
You would not. You can't tell me you could taste mushrooms under all of this. Get out of town.
sourdough bread. So delicious.
What was the point of the tomato? Tomatoes are relatively light, fragrant, fresh taste. How are you tasting that under a cup of bechamel?
Okay, let me just taste the sauce on its own. Oh wow, you can taste the shallots in it. So I'm gonna cut over here so that I can show you guys the prosperity sandwich.
No, it's the McCallisters because they're birds.
Is a spin. This version. There's a few different versions. But this
Acidity.
version, from what I gather, is a variety of. It's a different take on the brown sandwich. I think it's called the hot brown from the Brown Hotel in the 1920s, and people would, the Brown Hotel was really popular in the 20s, and they would be partying all night. And instead of having
Can you imagine moving after this sandwich? I can't.
eggs and toast,
This
or
is this will put me to bed.
whatever, they wanted something different, and of course something more decadent for their guests. So they invented this sandwich, the hot brown, and it's from Louisville, Kentucky. But this version, apparently, prosperity sandwich, comes from St. Louis.
It's a lot. It's a grilled cheese though. It's a ham and cheese sandwich with mushrooms and tomato and a cup of bechamel.
That crunch on the bread from when we broiled it. Oh man, this is one heck of a decadent sandwich.
Oh my god!
Very rich.
Look at
That
it.
sauce.
Hold on, move. There you go. Just look at that. That's the. You may. Oh boy, that's a lot.
And it's also a sandwich that showcases the prosperity of the times of the Roaring 20s, because it is so rich and decadent, and cheese and meat are not cheap.
Oh, you
Whenever
come
we talk
from
about
St. Louis, Erskine.
prosperity. This is
Is this an iconic sandwich?
focusing on the Western world, and of course, it's not equal for all classes in any decade. So I'm just speaking of the time period that we all know.
Mudslicker, it is too moist. It is too moist for a sandwich.
Of course, there's a lot of social change and social turmoil and a lot of things going on.
Tell me more. Tell me more about the
And one of those
1920s.
things was a change in women's role in society. In the 20s, they were finally allowed to vote. And in a way to
In America, right?
celebrate and express that newfound freedom as women, and breaking away from that more Victorian, ultra-conservative role of women, the flapper, the modern woman of the 1920s, emerged.
So
And
just as a note, the women's suffrage movement in Australia, from Wikipedia, in 1902, reminder that Australia is a very young country, the Commonwealth Parliament passed the Uniform Commonwealth Franchise Act, Franchise Act? Yeah. 1902, which enabled women 21 years of age and older to vote at elections for the federal parliament. The state soon gave women over 21 the vote, New South Wales in 1902, Tasmania in 1903, Queensland in 1905, and Victoria in 1908. There, you've learnt something about Australia today.
She expressed herself as a more sexual being, less sexually conservative, and wore a lot of makeup, a lot of jewelry, decadent jewelry, low-cut dresses that usually went just below the knee so that their limbs were exposed. And, because look at the Victorian era dresses, women were covered head to toe, so. And on top of that, they were dancing, going out and partying all night. They weren't just staying in the home, caring, for their families. A lot of women still were, but the lines were blurred for the role of women in the 20s.
Oh, there is a note to say it began with South Australia in 1894 and Western Australia in 1899. There you go. By 1908, the remaining Australian states had legislated for women's suffrage for state elections. It took longer before women could stand for parliament throughout Australia, and even longer before they were actually elected. I'll try and find some stuff. Okay, so the right to stand in parliament. For the Commonwealth Parliament, it was the same year at 1902. But the right to stand in parliament for South Australia was 1895, Western Australia was 1920, New South Wales was 1918, Tasmania 1921, Queensland 1915, and Victoria was the latest to get on board with the right to stand in parliament for women at 1923.
Oh, man.
There you go.
Wait till you see what I made for dessert.
Okay, back to food.
Tomato?
Back to food. Is the word of the day decadent? Seems like it. For what? Thank you very much for the super chat. For what says, how does her drink look thirsty? I'm so confused. It's because there's no ice in it. It's warm, that's why. Thank you for the super chat, though.
This is delightful. Absolutely delightful. So the 1920s were a very... you had the emergence of the jazz age, and you had new dances. People were dancing and swing jazz were very popular. The Charleston, the foxtrot, the waltz.
The waltz was... When did the waltz... Because I feel like it's way before 1920. Yeah, the waltz is from the 13th century, so it's been popular for a hot minute at this point. Sorry, that's shady as hell, but me sitting here being like, no, the waltz was danced way before the 1920s. But whatever, shut up, Zach.
It was just after World War I ended, and the end of World War I brought
History with Foodie is a trip, though.
huge amount of prosperity to the United States.
Peapot says dancing didn't exist before 1920.
The economy was at an all-time high. People were loving life. People were celebrating.
Post World War One, the world looked pretty rough. But okay.
You had...
Again, I'm considering the whole world, not just American history with Canadian Foodie. That's all.
moving pictures, radio, new technologies. But we're just here for the food. This is a delicious, delicious sandwich.
So just a note, the Italian inventor Guglielmo Marconi first developed the idea of a radio or wireless telegraph in the 1890s. His ideas took shape in 1895 when he sent a wireless Morse code message to a source more than a kilometre away. There you go, radio facts. Radios, not invented in 1920. Perhaps popularised, but not invented.
Now, I think the hot brown uses bacon. You can use bacon if you want to.
Elle has a point of clarity. Elle says, the historian in me is yelling at her saying everyone was thriving in the 1920s. I mean, I'm not a history buff. I really suck at history, but even I know that the world holistically is never really in a great place, like, subjectively, but, like, post-World War world, not easy for everybody. Not easy for a lot of people. Not a good place for a lot of people. Home radios were popularized in the 1920s. There you go.
You can make it any way you like it. This gin and tonic is hitting the spot.
It's so warm. It just looks warm.
Okay. more of the sandwich here. A lot of other different things. I mean, there was a ton of different food available in the 20s.
Uh-huh. Tell me what food, so
Different
I can
recipes.
Google.
This one looked and sounded the most appealing to me. I mean, with a name like Prosperity Sandwich, right?
I think it appealed to you because of the bag of cheese used to make this dish, but maybe me being shady.
There are people who have a lot of 20s themed parties. I think the Kardashians and the Jenners did that.
Did they?
I didn't mention it because it's obvious, but of course, F. Scott Fitzgerald wrote The Great Gatsby from the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Those epic Great Gatsby parties. Jay Gatsby parties. I had to read that in high school.
Oh, I found the Prosperity Sandwich on the Seattle Times. Mushroom, butter, shallots? Shallots used here? Probably not. Salt, flour. Oh, they make the bread. Okay. No, they don't make the bread. They make the sauce. Chopped cheese. Yeah, right.
And of course, you have in 1929, that golden decade. Oh, this bread is so fresh. That just with the stock market crashed and then the Great Depression began. And even though the sandwich was from the 1920s, there's a joke that it got its name from being a joke, because apparently President Hoover at the time of the Depression kept
Looking at her wrestling with this monster of a sandwich.
promising that prosperity was just around the corner. Sounds like a false politician's promise, even back then.
Oh god, don't eat off your knife. Everyone, don't eat off a sharp knife. Be safe.
I think it would be so difficult being a world leader during a depression. And some speculate that's around the corner or has already begun here because of the pandemic.
Oh god, oof. Charlotte, thank you very much for the super chat. Charlotte says, Zach, you are much loved and needed. Your inspiration. This last month I've gone hard on clean keto. Oh, good luck, mate. Know it back of hand, but still a challenge. Thanks, lovely. Oh, Charlotte, thank you very much for the kind words and for the super chat. Best of luck in your keto journey. I know it's hard. I particularly found, I mean, I was never on like full keto, but I removed processed sugars and only ate whole foods and watched my carb intake. Yeah, I know it can be hard. It helped me to fall in love with broccoli. But getting rid of processed foods
We don't know to what magnitude yet, but
was one of the biggest things.
very rich. Rich sandwich for the rich people, right? Yummy.
Chat, I'm just going to admit I don't think I could have polished off this sandwich. I love cheese and bread like anyone, but I don't think I could
I'll
have
take
done
one
it.
more big bite for now, and then we're gonna have dessert. Oh, indeed we are.
Is this an eating contest? Kristen,
This time it
no.
was better to wait after a night of dancing when you're hungry, burnt off calories, and ready to pass out.
Oh yeah, there's dessert after this.
Cheers. I'll see you for dessert.
Yay. Not yay, boo. Boo mostly. Mostly boo.
You seem to be getting a bit better.
That's good.
That's not good. You.
She could have chosen to edit all of this out. She made a choice. Choices.
It's the 1920s, okay? Women are allowed to burp. welcome back. Here's dessert.
Excellent.
So you're asking what the heck this is? And before the cream melts everywhere, since I had to whip it by hand,
Oh
and
no.
Pete's too, this is a icebox cake. So now let me cut into it and show you, and I'll tell you what it is. Because I want to start eating it.
This is a lot of cake. I love cake. This is a lot of cake.
Oh shoot. Okay, well there you go. Ah. So it looks like this. There's layers.
Uh-huh.
So what it is, it's pretty easy, but it's just chocolate wafers. You know those crispy chocolate wafers, kind of like Oreo. It looks almost like an Oreo cake.
Yep.
And then you have whipped cream. Now I don't have a mixer, so we had to whip this by hand. We had to put it in the freezer a few times because it has to be cold to whip cream.
Out of all, like, that kitchen doesn't have a mixer. That's wild to me. Go down to Walmart or whatever, but spend $7 on a hand mixer. Hand whipped cream. I mean, decadent, you know. Steph, lovely to see you. Thank you very much for the super chat. Steph says it's a chocolate ripple cake. It's pretty much a chocolate ripple cake, yes. And who am I? Thank you very much for the super chat. Who says open face sandwiches like this are good when you're trying to cut carbs but have a weakness for bread. I agree. I mean, it sounds stupid, but I started building sandwiches just on lettuce bases. That kind of helped me. Like, specifically burgers, because, like, love me a patty, right? Love me a patty. So when I was feeling lush, it would be a bunless burger, but with lettuce to hold it all together, like a wrap. Thank you for the super chat, though.
Icing sugar mixed with the cream and a bit of vanilla. And you just stack it with whipped cream in between, and then you cover it in cream, and these are chocolate shavings. And you just stick it in the fridge overnight, and you have yourself this icebox cake. So let's try this. Want to try a bite, Pete?
No thanks.
Woof.
Sorry. Beauty bite. It looks messy, but...
It is messy. Pardon me. It does look like a Viennetta melody, yes. 100%.
Hallelujah. That...
So it's good.
It is... Oh my god. So the cookies get all soft from the cream.
Uh-huh.
And there's nothing like real whipped cream. Like, I know people who've made this using Cool Whip. What the hell?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say I've never had whipped cream from a can. Never. Not once. Not ever. Surprise. Eri, thank you very much for the super chat. Eri says, both of these recipes are literally in the first article that comes up when you Google food invented in the 20s. She read one article for this. I think so. I think it was the Seattle Times article that I have here. Published April 12th, 2016. It has both of these exact recipes on it. And Grace, thank you for 11 months. Grace says, wanted to share some news with you, team. Oh, baby, congratulations, Grace. Hands up in the chat and some love, please, for Grace. Congratulations. Best of luck with the little one. And thank you for being here for 11 months. It's very cute.
If you like Cool Whip, fine. I hate Cool Whip. Oh my god. The chocolate, it tastes like an ice cream sandwich. Mmm. Okay. That's delicious.
Great.
Oh, yes.
I don't know
Now-
what's left in this.
The thing about why this was so popular, such a popular recipe, is because in the mid-1920s, the first Frigidaire came out, and they were trying to get people to use it, new appliances.
See, I get it now, because it's frigid air. Weirdly enough, we looked at Frigidaire literally like 3 weeks ago when we were talking about the appliances in Old Mate's basement. Because we were trying to figure out... Sorry, pause game strong. We were trying to figure out how old that washing machine was, and Frigidaire was one of the brands that came up. There you go.
And so this is an icebox cake because you put it in the fridge, right, for it to set. You don't bake it like a traditional dessert. Also, it is very reminiscent of Oreos and uses packaged cookies, uses packaged wafers, uses packaged food.
Yes.
And in the 1920s, that was the time where processed foods started to emerge slowly. Things like Oreos, the Baby Ruth chocolate bar came out, biscuits, crackers, and a lot more tinned and frozen food emerged, mostly because of World War I and the soldiers having access to convenient packaged food.
Just as a note, Oreos were invented in 1912. Note. The Oreo biscuit was first developed and produced by the National Biscuit Company, today known as Nabisco, in 1912 at its Chelsea, New York factory. There you go. Oreos are over 100 years old. They are 110 years old this year. Woof.
And tinned foods.
A lot of Oreos.
Mm. This is really, really decadent.
Is it decadent, though? Is it decadent?
There's a lot of party foods, cocktail meatballs, things like that, because there was a lot of parties. So there's actual recipes of party foods you can make.
Recliner, thank you very much for the super chat. That's very kind. Recliner says, do you know why she says shh? I said shh. I started watching you in August and have never seen Foodie Beauty before then. Recliner, really? Oh, mate, what an internet rabbit hole. This is a lot then. I don't know. Shh. I said shh. There are a lot of theories around the reasons why Chantal said it, ranging from, like, feederism through to, like, food aggression. There's a range of wild tinfoil hat theories. I think she says it just as, like, a quirky, weirdly quirky catchphrase, but there's definitely more. There probably was more behind it at the time. She doesn't say it that much anymore at all. I think I've only heard her say it once in recent memory. But she used to say it specifically frequently in her mukbangs. Sarah, thank you very much for the super chat as well. Sarah says, how is this woman not sick after eating this slop? Well, love your channel and wishing you a wonderful Happy New Year to you as well, Sarah. Thank you for the super chat. We can talk about long-term illness, because it wasn't long after this. This was in August last year. It wasn't long after this in December last year, where she was diagnosed with severe extreme non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, an enlarged spleen, a belly button hernia, and a couple of other things as well. So if you want to talk about her being sick, long term, that's a big discussion, yes.
You know anything about the 20s? You want to contribute?
I know nothing. I know in the 50s they were all about Jell-O.
Gelatin?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't make a gelatin recipe. I just made a traditional.
But that was the 50s. Where they were made.
The 60s too.
Yeah. Oh, I think the 70s.
I don't get it. I don't get it, but...
Okay, so just so we're aware, Jell-O, Pierre Waite, a carpenter in Leroy, was putting up a cough remedy and laxative tea in his home. He experimented with gelatin and came up with a fruit-flavoured dessert which his wife, May, named Jell-O. The year, 1897.
Maybe I'll try and make something gelatin.
Jell-O and Oreos, both over 100 years old.
And maybe it's actually good.
Fun times. Learn something new every day.
Comment if you like gelatinous food. There's got to be people who liked it because it was popular, right?
I don't mind a terrine. A terrine's okay. And jelly. I live off, like, sugar-free jelly. Jell-O. Whatever.
Gelatinous blob.
You're telling me I can make, like, 2 liters of jelly and it come under 100 calories? Yes, sign me up. I will eat that every day. Also, Jell-O, gelatin, creatine. Creatine, good for skin.
Right. One more bite and then this flapper is heading home from the speakeasy.
Is any of this for Pete's? I don't know if she gets through the whole thing. I don't think she does.
Cheers. Okay, guys. All I can say, you could probably use canned whipped cream, which I might do next time, or invest in a mixer.
Yeah,
They did exist in the 20s, but I just don't have one.
Again, a hand mixer, like $10.
Oh man.
Treat yourself.
That cake is so simple. It has like 4 ingredients, but it is so delicious. Oh my gosh, I've never tasted something so good.
It's basically cookies and cream.
Well, that's not true, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, guys. I'm going to smoke.
All right, see you 1920, Chantal. We got things to do. Fast forward to the 1950s. Get ready.
And, you know...
with Foodie and Orange. Let's rewind and start this off right. So loud.
Hello, Foodie Beauty.
So loud. Blowing out eardrums.
Welcome back to another video, guys. Do you like
That's
my
just
Bobo
quiet.
mirrors? I hope you do. They're decorations. My walls aren't so bare, except like half the house is still bare. So today, I have something special for you guys. I've been
Half the house is still bare. And I don't know, I think this was before she paid people $400 to remove the original 2 box citadels, which she's planning on doing again. Oh god, catching up with past Foodie is just a treat, isn't it? It's a treat. Christina, thank you very much for the super chat. Christina says, so glad I caught alive. I'm off to bed, but wanted to supply this chat all night. Or good night, Christina. Thank you very much for stopping by and for the super chat. I appreciate it. I hope you rest well. Thank you.
slaving away in the kitchen like a 1950s housewife, and we're gonna
Mo, how have you never seen any of these videos? The time warps are classic material. classic. And you'll understand so much of the... This isn't even deep lore. This is only like a year and a half old. But boy howdy, different times.
Back in time to the 50s and eat like they did in the 1950s. And the 1950s, I guess it's going to be kind of stereotype kind of video because, you know, stereotypically you would hear that they have a well-balanced meal, you know, a glass of milk, a slice of dessert, and, you know, meatloaf or whatever. So I'm going to show you what a typical 50s meal would be like, or what we imagine it to be, because of course, I wasn't around in the 50s. Maybe some of you were, and maybe some of you can comment and let us know how it really was. All right, guys, so I'm going to do my best to do it justice. I baked a cake from the box. Betty Crocker, though, who I think was a 1950s housewife, if I'm not mistaken. And we're gonna have a wonderful dinner. So let's get to it.
No cats would be on the counter in the 50s, Sam. Get into character.
Surprisingly, Betty Crocker isn't actually a real person. She's the brainchild of an advertising company developed by Washburn Crosby Company, a flour milling company started in the late 1800s that eventually became General Mills. So, Betty Crocker, owned by General Mills, not a real person. Damn, we out here getting educated today. Recliner, thank you very much for 3 months. Appreciate it. Recliner says, don't want to interrupt, but look at me. Love you all. Recliner, thank you very much for being here for 3 months. There, you go. I had no idea about Betty Crocker. There you go.
Same goes for you, Missy.
Hey guys, hey, how are you? I'm gonna move you a bit closer. Okay, my kitchen is a friggin' mess.
I would agree with you. This is like, if you wanna go back in Foodie's timeline and actually somewhat enjoy the content, this is usually where I hit. the diet phases are if you just want to kind of run around in a circle because they happen all the time.
Oh. Fail, typical 50s housewife test right there. All right, so
the green screen has disappeared. Beep. Yes. Oh, Lucy has a discovery. The definition of decadent is characterized by or reflecting a state of moral or cultural decline. Foreshadowing. Definitely foreshadowing. Funnily enough, it doesn't have anything to do with 10, as in dec, like decibel. Jessica, thank you very much for the super chat as well. Jessica says, love you, Zach and chat. You're awesome. I love being able to catch lives and hang with everyone. I had such a beautiful day today and wanted to share some good vibes. Stay blessed. Oh, Jessica, thank you very much for the good vibes and for the super chat. I appreciate it. Lovely to see you here. Thank you very much for enjoying. Thank you for being on board with the shenanigans. Here for the positivity. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, we're going to get back to meatloaf. What do we got here? We got a salad drowning in what looks like ranch. Meatloaf, potato. That's a lot of potato. Real big fan of potato. Oh, I miss potato. Potatoes and gravy and peas. And the cake that she made.
oh, let's see what we have here. Just by Googling, like researching or whatever, what a kind of a typical meal was. I've seen some videos where, you know, they have like a little salad, probably not drenched in creamy cucumber dressing, but hey. And I'm sure the portions were a lot smaller for the women. I'm sure.
So I have a really interesting food timeline of the 1950s in Australia. And I'm going to be reading from that. So in 1950, twisties were invented. Twisties are 70 years old. That's wild.
This is like a husband size. So, but I wear
also in 1950, wartime rationing ends in Australia.
the pants in this family, bitch. No. All right. Sorry. I'm trying to act proper. No. So this is 2 slices of meatloaf, peas, which I don't even like, and some fluffy mashed potatoes.
Why did you make peas if you don't like them?
Brown gravy, slice of confetti cake for dessert with French vanilla icing, and a glass of milk because
Is that confetti cake? Okay.
they always seem to drink milk. They think that
Ooh, the esky was invented in 1952.
on getting your calcium so you can grow up strong
And in 1952, KFC launched in the US.
and join the army. I don't know. So let's have a bite of salad.
1953, paddle pops are invented.
Eat a bite.
Salada biscuits are invented in 1952. Okay, gotta check in on
You know,
chat.
as much as I joke around,
Oh, Cassandra, thank you very much for 8 months. I appreciate it. Cassandra says, do not miss this creamy cucumber phase at all. But it's so decadent, Cassandra. And Mo, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Mo says, but why does that shirt look like a prison uniform? I don't think it does. I don't look. If you see it closer, I don't hate the design. I don't hate the design. I actually really like the color. Maybe not for her. For me, not for her.
a big part of me misses that whole, like, wishes I could go back. I'm nostalgic for a time I wasn't even born in, but, you know, everyone had a function.
Everyone, what are you talking about?
Mothers took care of the family. Dads provided for the family.
Oh god, you're nostalgic for The stereotypes of the 1950s. Oh boy.
Everyone ate together.
Oh, in 1955, the first McDonald's opens in the US. There you go. Illinois.
Meatloaf is tender, savory, some fluffy mashed potatoes. Yeah. Let's try the piece with the potatoes.
1956, Bird's Eye fish fingers make their Australian debut. A lot happened in the 50s.
Not bad.
1957, global warming first mentioned. Woof. Woof.
I'm gonna dip my. Oh. Another thing that was really different amongst a lot of things, but I was watching a documentary on how there's like no, pretty much virtually no middle class. Now this was an American documentary, but how there was no middle class, or how it was disappearing, and we're just left with the working poor. So a lot of people forced to work for giant corporations and for minimum wage, which is not enough to live off of. So you're working and you're trying to get yourself out of poverty, but you're just going nowhere. And in the 50s,
God, historian Chantal might be the worst. Might be one of the worst ones. One of the worst ones. Yeah.
there was a lot of suburban families from middle class, where a single parent could earn enough to buy a house, to take care of the family.
Yeah.
It's definitely not like that now. A lot of both parents usually have to work nowadays.
Yeah, cost of living's very different. Yeah.
And there are exceptions, but sometimes both parents have to work more than one job, you know?
Cost of living? Price of living. Cost of living. Both. 1959, Lipton tea bags arrive in Australia, which is what I'm drinking today.
But I like that old school music as well. Civil liberties were definitely different.
Oh God. Okay.
So there are some, there is some progression, but there's also...
Yeah, there's been a lot of social progression in the last 70 years, miss, yes.
Times just seem simpler.
You know, there's also words that we don't use from 70 years ago. Some people hang on to them, though.
Somehow back then, you know, for the domestic life. But everyone seemed to just be playing a role, you know? And I think that's why times have changed, because, the housewife, we learned more about her as the years went on, and she started to rebel, and she wasn't so happy with her life. Having to freshen up and look good for the husband, or, just basically just being a robot, just every day, same routine, taking care of the house, kids, and husband. No time to take care of herself. Well, I wonder how true that is, They look conservative on the outside. But how many housewives do you think were wearing crotchless undies under those skirts? For the milk boy!
It is so strange to consider as well, because the 1950s was really about pushing and reinforcing the stereotype, particularly in the media, reinforcing the stereotype of people's roles, specifically women's roles. But considering how different, like, the mid to late 40s looked during the war era, it is really strange that, like, well, it's not strange, but, like, when you consider it all objectively, it is so stark to see, like, Lizzie out there being a mechanic in the armed forces, and then American media trying to tell women that they should be cooking and cleaning. You know what I mean? It's strange, but media is evil like that sometimes. Peapot, thank you very much for the super chat again. Peapot says 1955 Emmett Till was killed. This was not good times. Mate, the 50s weren't good times. Like, I'm gonna go out there and say it. The media was telling people the 50s were a good time, but the 50s weren't a good time for I think, the majority of people.
That would totally be me. Oh, it's lunch hour. Look at the milkman.
She's doing it again. Sexualizing service workers. I hate it.
A couple hours later. The Eggman's here. The cool boy. If this were the 50s, I'd be having story times like My milkman lover.
Sarah, historian Chantal is teaching us about the 1950s.
The peas mixed with the mashed potatoes are pretty good.
Specifically, one article she read. That's what I thought, Polter, yeah. Love the topic of post-war reform. Reformation? Yes. Yeah, I'm not a historian. I won't pretend to know a lot about a lot. But I just do find it really interesting. Specifically that.
But
it's just like...
you'd be really tired by the end of the night, that's for sure, doing all of that. I mean, being a stay-at-home mom, I mean, I don't have kids, but just being, stay-at-home, just overlooking all their duties they had to do every day. In which...
She legitimately is just talking about, like, a media-pushed stereotype of the 50s here.
Still do. A lot of
So,
you
don't expect anything in-depth from Chantal.
out there, to this day, stay at home. And there's nothing wrong with that. You do it because you know it's a full-time job. Or that you don't get paid for. And I just hope the husbands in the 50s showed some kind of recognition for the hard work that their wives did, but I don't think they did. Enough, maybe. I'm sure some were one.
Right, she's watched a couple of episodes of, like, Leave It to Beaver or something.
Wonderful, but
Before this. Ugh.
there's an exception to every rule, right? But, like...
There's also stereotyping, and not everybody acts in the exact same manner or way, Chantal. You have proven this. My God.
Yeah.
Woof.
Best meatloaf. I would just put, like, 2 eggs, half a cup of breadcrumbs, and 2 pounds of medium ground beef because it's moist with the fat content. I got gravy on my shirt.
What a
Better take it up to the
surprise.
sewing room. But I also put a pack of Clubhouse meatloaf seasoning.
Yeah, her research skills are not
It's so good.
existent.
You can also put need more gravy,
Do we still think these are her best videos?
but I love gravy.
Well, you see how it got worse, though.
Oh my god, this is so good. What we're talking about? The Clubhouse. You can also use, like, Lipton, or is it Knorr brand.
Okay, this is now turning into a live stream. Let's skip ahead to dessert. Post meatloaf. We get Pete's for a moment. This is all recorded in one take. There's very little editing here. It's fucking shady, Zach. Oh god. I mean, I get it. Look, no one is beautiful. No one is Linda Evangelista when they're eating, but still, just fucking shady, Zach. All right, skipping to dessert. Do you guys hear Kevin? I hear the McCallisters. I don't hear Kevin screaming just yet, but... Time for dessert!
Crumbly cake?
I'm sorry, Whiplash. She's not well informed about anything. And it's not even a matter of being well informed, it's just a matter of, like... she is the one driving all of this conversation, to be fair, so she probably should have done a little bit of research on anything, I guess. But, like, if she is going to talk on a topic, she certainly needs to dial back the authority and present more of, like, a ponderous character as opposed to a let me tell you. let me tell you.
Sam? Oh no. No. Oh yes, angels sing.
Sam looks different, hey? Just look at Sam's coat in the back there. Look at that. Look at Sam. He looks much better there.
Hark the old angels sing. I don't know how that song goes.
It's a Christmas song, miss. Also, this cake looks a little dry for me, but
So good.
box cake and tin icing. So good? Is it good? I don't think it's good. I think it's bad. It's bad, dry.
It's just a box cake mix.
Yeah, it's bad. I would not eat that. I'd choose not to. That's a no from me, dog. With a glass of milk. How? Alright, we're moving on from this decadent mess. 1969, let's get groovy with some fondue, chat. Sorry, I don't mean to yell, but she's loud, so I'm loud.
Hello, Foodie Beauties.
Eri, thank you very much for the super chat. Eri says, request, can we revisit the hot noodle challenge too? Maybe not in today's live stream. I do have to jump off in time. But we'll add it to the list. We'll add it to the list. I'll give it effort. There's historical footage. A 1969 Hanna-Barbera production. There you go.
Hey guys, what's up?
Okay.
Feeling groovy.
Are you?
Welcome to 1969. Big year, all kinds of things happen, and fondue. Year of fondue, actually, decade of fondue. Fondue was very big in the 60s.
Okay. I found it really disappointing, right? When I first heard that Foodie was doing a 1960s mukbang, I was disappointed because I'm all about like the mod era, and that's what I was expecting. And then she came out with this 1969 thing, and don't get me wrong, like I'm just not as into the 60s and 70s flower child aesthetic. I would have preferred a mod era, but that's just that. It is what it is. So we're getting fondue.
In the 70s. So let's revisit 1969 together.
Her hair is wildly different here. Yes.
Let's get groovy and let's eat. Let's get to. What's up, guys? Today,
We've got the green screen back though.
let's start with the wine. I'm going for this is a flower child hippie hybrid. I don't know, man. I don't know.
A hybrid.
So this is a dry wine, Sauvignon Blanc. It is delicious. This is a Jackson Triggs from
How'd you pronounce that wine, sorry?
Niagara, Ontario, Reserve. So it is
Ooh.
amazing.
Is it?
It is pretty good for a screw off top.
Uh-huh.
All right, I don't even know if that's true. They say that the best wine is like cork, but that was pretty good. So I'm going to show you guys how to make it.
There's an entire conversation to have there about cork wine. Screw caps allow more consistency, obviously, because cork has the potential to rot, whereas a screw cap does not. Screw caps, well, cork is obviously far more popular pre-90s, early 2000s, were like, well, yeah, 2000s I'd say. Like, nowadays modern era, like, no one really cares. And you can get, like, polymer corks, you can get, like, fake cork, because cork comes from a tree. It takes a really long time to grow and harvest and dry and produce. So, with the world's population the way it is, to create more wine, screw caps, totally fine. Don't turn your nose up at a wine just because it's in a screw cap. The industry knows what it's doing. It's fine.
A traditional Swiss fondue. Because fondue originated, it's a Swiss dish, and it goes back centuries. But it became popular.
As a note, just because wine has a cork in it doesn't mean it's any better than any other wine. Also, like, the amount of people, like, yeah. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Do you know what the important thing about wine is? That you find a wine that you enjoy and that you enjoy it. That's it. That's all. That's the only important thing.
In the United States, this is all for dipping, by the way. In the 60s and 70s, people were having these fondue parties. So it became popularized in that era, and that's why we're having a fondue party today.
Uh-huh.
But I'm not sharing any of it. So I'm going to show you how to make a traditional one.
Guys, it's our second big bucket of
The
cheese.
traditional one uses certain ingredients. So I'm going to show you now, okay? So I needed a heat-resistant surface. So you're going to take a couple cloves of, one clove of garlic cut in half. And you're just going to rub the pot with the fresh garlic. I don't have pot brownies.
Now, if I do a quick search of fondue, It looks like it may have been invented before 1969.
Been good, of course, for this. Probably more like acid brownies for this time period, honestly. But we'll get into some chat in a bit. So we're gonna wrap.
It was promoted by a Swiss national dish by the Swiss Cheese Union in the 1930s and was popularized in North America in the 1960s.
The garlic. Get that nice garlic juice on there. Okay. And now what we're gonna do is we're going to add.
The word fondue is the feminine passive past participle of the French verb fondre, to melt, used as a noun. It is first attested in French in 1735 in Vincent La Chapelle's Cuisine Moderne, and in English in 1878.
This is all measured out.
The earliest known recipe for the modern form of cheese fondue comes from a 1699 book published in Zurich under the name Kas mit Wein zu kochen, to cook cheese with wine. It calls for grated or cut up cheese to be melted with wine and for bread to be dipped in it. Boom.
Ready?
Wikipedia.
3/4 of a cup of milk. I'm using 2%. That's what I had in my fridge. You can use whatever. All right, but
Sarah, this was a year and a half ago.
It's going to be right. So now we're going to turn it on to.
Little Brown Dog coming in with some facts. Hippies didn't eat fondue. Fair.
200 degrees Fahrenheit, and you want to use a wooden utensil to stir in the cheese and just mix everything around because it will damage the pot otherwise. I'm gonna have a little gherkin in the meantime.
What happened to this fondue pot? Where's this? Cheese graveyard, not cheese graveyard. Appliance
Just
graveyard.
it for dipping. So the big gherkins I have, those wonderful gherkins I love, actually probably won't work as good for this, but you could use them, I guess. But
Little cornichons? No,
No.
they're too big for cornichons, right? Maybe not.
I have 1 pound of Swiss cheeses. Okay,
Jesus
it's
Christ.
getting hot already. So we're gonna mix that in.
With our
This
PP
is shredded.
hands.
You want to shred the cheese
Shut up,
because
Zach.
it's easier to. It'll melt evenly.
Uh-huh.
And you want to mix with that 3 tablespoons of flour
Uh-huh.
to keep it smooth, silky, and to kind of thicken the sauce.
Yeah.
So that's why they add like cellulose, or you call it wood pulp, to shredded cheese to keep it from sticking.
You call it wood pulp. She calls it cellulose.
So we're gonna add that in. So the cheeses I've used, the Swiss cheeses, I've used Gouda, authentic Gouda, medium Gouda, Fontina, and Gruyere. And Gruyere is probably my favorite cheese, honestly.
Gruyere or Gruyere? I say Gruyere. Gruyere?
Swiss cheeses, definitely been my favorite lately. So that's melting
Gruyere?
wonderfully. I wish I could show you. I'll show you when it's all done, but it's melting here. See? Just melt that in. And you want to do, I guess, a figure 8 motion. Now this pot came with the recipe for traditional Swiss, so that's awesome. We're gonna melt the cheese in. Okay. Oh, that smells nice, actually. We're gonna melt that down. It's nice and thick. This is gonna be good, guys. Gonna melt that down, doing the figure 8 motion. Okay.
Damn, there's some interesting stuff that happened in Canada in 1969. For instance, April 18th, New Brunswick adopts an official language act and mandates the government services be available in both English and French. The National Arts Centre in Ottawa opens.
Now, a traditional Swiss fondue also has.
Parliament decriminalises consensual homosexual acts with some exceptions. Not happy with that some exceptions, but okay. The Official Languages Act makes French and English equal throughout the Canadian government. So for a 1969 mukbang, she could have done something French and spoken about, like, the Official Languages Act, maybe? That could have been something interesting for her to do, considering she's Canadian and not American.
White wine, and you want Sauvignon Blanc. You want it to be room temperature. You're going to use 3/4 of a cup of that. Ooh. Jeepers creepers. And you're just going to mix that in and let it cook a bit.
Yeah, she could have done dishes from the
Have you guys ever had
provinces.
fondue? Now you can also do. There's so many kinds of different fondue, but the traditional Swiss one apparently.
I think the bird's back.
Wine and cheese, because fondue in the ancient records in like the 1600s, there was a book found
She read Wikipedia as well. Look at that.
in Zurich that talked about fondue, and it's literally a cheese sauce with wine melted, and you're meant to dip pieces of bread in it.
She did. She read the same Wikipedia article as me. Look at that.
Melty. Ooh.
The difference is I'm doing it live, and this is prepared. Prepared.
That looks really nice. Just gonna let it simmer. So we're supposed to just let it simmer for a bit So I'm just going to let it simmer for a few minutes and tell you what I have on the side here. So I'm going to enjoy a glass of wine, and that's why I'm getting red, because when I drink, I get red.
We would have ended up with French fries.
I have some fresh baked French bread. I have some bacon with some jalapenos.
Look, she got some French in there, though.
On top,
French bread.
and I have some roasted mini potatoes with carrots and some gherkins. Now you can dip anything. You can dip broccoli would be nice with this, Brussels sprouts, little tomatoes, different kinds of bread, like the possibilities.
Look, I'm not a big fan of fondue only because it gets real messy, but that's
Seriously, endless when it comes to
that's
fondue.
maybe a me thing.
You can dip anything. There are chocolate
Also,
fondue.
like communal dips, just
These are also popular, but I prefer
communal hot
for
dips.
chocolate any day, but that's just me. I'll let this simmer a little bit longer.
But this is just for one, so it doesn't matter. It's fine.
So while this is cooking, 1969, I chose that year because it kind of, I mean, it almost
69.
defines the decade, really. You
Does
had
it?
the whole hippie counterculture movement. Some great music came out, like some great songs. That song by the Zombies, Time of the Season, it's the one that's like, it's the time of you really make the grade. Just barely on warm.
Skip it. Just
Okay.
skip it.
It smells great. We're gonna add some pepper. Now you can add some nutmeg would be nice in this.
I don't know how hippies, traditional hippies, if she's going to talk about the flower child and hippie movement, I don't know how on board they would be with bacon dipped in cheese, but sure, whatever.
Some paprika. A little bit of salt, because cheese is very salty on its own,
Yeah,
right?
you didn't need to add that.
Okay.
You have 3 types of cheese in that bucket. It's fine.
So we're gonna turn the heat off.
Salt to taste. Did you taste this first?
Cheeses, Swiss cheeses. Feeling groovy. I'm feeling groovy. I don't know about you guys. Alright, it's calming down. Let's try it. Get right out. Get right out. I say and get right out. Oh my god, that flavor. I love these videos because I get to try things that, dude, seriously. Alright, you want your fondue for Foodie Beauties? Too bad. First things first, I want to try is this jalapeno with bacon.
Jalapeno with bacon in fondue. Get out of town.
I don't know how you're supposed to put that on a fork, but
You're not. You're not. Why are you eating crispy bacon in cheese fondue? What is going on? This isn't a bunless burger. Come on.
let's try like that. There we go. It's gonna be hot. Look at that.
It's time for bread, not bacon.
Velvety cheese. It's gonna drip on the table.
Oh god.
Beauty bite.
There it is.
Oh my god.
Is it good?
Out of this world. Out.
Me just remembering every time just microwave cheese on a plate. This is a dream. a dream.
I can't imagine this tasting good. A sweet pickle. A
Don't
sweet
fondue shame.
Okay. This would be, I can see why they had fondue parties, because this would be amazing for parties, right?
Would it?
Okay.
Cheesy pickle?
So, let's try.
It's
I've never
cheese.
considered without the cheese. Huh?
Neon, it is
Let's try the
cheese.
bread. Soft. It might fall off. It's so soft and fresh.
These are giant chunks of bread as well. These should be half the size.
It's gonna be hot.
Fondue, there's like little mouthfuls, not big mouthfuls. There are no veggies that aren't pickled. Oh, actually, there's carrot, I think, back there, and potato.
Should have made smaller pieces.
Yeah, you should have. This is fucking massive. Oh my god. Oh my god. Right. Oh, you got some on your shirt now. Sorry, miss. Also, this shirt is not
What
it.
happens over there? I'm
This
not going to get them. I'm too tipsy.
this 4-way stretch,
Oh my god.
pink and blue tie-dye, I
Wine
do not
or
like.
something else in this sauce.
Is
So,
it?
1969. So this is, yeah, fondue parties were big. I
Uh-huh.
showed you how to make the traditional Swiss fondue.
Uh-huh.
1969. So such a huge year. You had the Apollo 11 moon landing, Neil Armstrong landing, first moonwalk ever. I know some people
Not if you ask Amber, but sure.
aspire that.
God.
The moon landing never happened. I think it did.
Oh, interesting, Polter. That sounds fun at the fair, though.
Apollo 11, not Apollo 13, like the Tom Hanks movie. Nice potato. Carrot.
Oh no, bug.
So, you guys want to see it?
She needs to respect the fact that she does not have a gallbladder. Please. This is how the toilets get clogged, by the way.
So you had that. You had James Earl Ray getting sentenced to 99 years in prison for the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968.
Uh-huh. Any Canadian information for
He's in
us?
the rotten jail where he belongs. This is amazing. Like, amazing.
Is it? I don't trust you.
Not much of a dry wine drinker, but this is good. This is good. So you had...
God, do you know what I'm realizing I don't miss? I don't miss topics of conversation being intermittently interrupted with but funnily enough, in the current era, she can't finish a goddamn thought at all. So do I prefer prolonged thoughts with intermittent or the beginning of a sentence and then nothing? I don't know which one's worse. Both bad. Both
Something
bad.
tragic happened. Also, in 1969, in the summer of 69. Hey, stop turning on.
Zan's all of her mukbangs that we've got, all of the time warps that we've gone through, all of her historical notes have been anecdotal and based on either popular culture or American media. That's about it. Like even the Titanic one, she had more information about the movie Titanic than like really anything else.
Crispy bacon, like I do. You guys like crispy bacon or fatty bacon? I like crispy bacon.
Do you?
The Manson family murders happened.
Look at Foodie talking about tragedies while
Murder.
eating. That's just a stark contrast.
Devastating murder of Sharon Tate. She was married to Roman Polanski at the time, and he was away on business.
Oh, chat, you're all learning about hot pot? Nice.
A few other people were murdered as well. I think Abigail Folger, Harris to the Folgers Coffee Company, was murdered. That just, like, shocked the nation.
I think it shocked the world, but specifically
Such a terrible thing. Something that
Canada?
happened.
Question mark?
You had Woodstock.
Uh-huh.
I mean, peace and love, right? You had the hippie movement, Flower Child. You had this movement of people who were just protesting, had right smack in the middle of the Vietnam War. A war that claimed so many lives. It lasted a long time. I think it started, in the 50s and lasted till the mid-70s, if I'm not mistaken.
From Wikipedia. The Vietnam War had considerable effect on Canada, but Canada and Canadians also affected the war. Canadian government did not participate in the war. It contributed to peacekeeping forces in 1973 to help enforce the Paris Peace Accords. I wonder if Canadian Beauty, yes, mentions that at all. I have zero information and historical acumen surrounding the Vietnam War, by the way, team. So don't expect anything from me.
Carb haters will not want to watch this. Well, nobody hates carbs. People who get triggered to eat them when they see them.
I mean, I miss bread and cheese, but I treat myself to bread and cheese on the odd occasion. Not like this. Not like
The
this.
cheese is like velvety, rich, a bit tangy. And then you have the wine, the hint of wine that makes it look a bit acidic. Acidy.
Brianna, it's true, and it's such a disappointment because we've said before Foodie could really present Canada to her audience in a much better way, but instead she's just taught me how to avoid outhouses in the middle of parks, and yeah, that's about it.
I'm breaking the friggin' fondue rules. And since you guys are behind the screen, I can double dip all I want. So,
Oh, Angel, I'm
you know,
so sorry
they
to
were-
hear that.
Hippies were peacefully
Stay as safe and healthy as you can, mate.
protesting. They were protesting peaceful. So hippies were protesting the war. A lot of other social unrest going on.
Oh, this is cool. Interesting. Canada rejected the US's request to join the war in Vietnam. I didn't know that. There you go.
They were counterculture, anti-establishment, freer sexuality. That's why there were so many boobs at Woodstock. But yeah, Woodstock.
Yeah, you don't know.
I was gonna make most were vegetarian apparently, hippies, but Woodstock was
So let me sit here and eat cheese and
like an
bacon.
atrocity environmental-wise. There was so much pollution and filth. Kind of like counteracts that whole environmentalist, like hippie culture kind of thing, you know?
Well,
Like, people were buying like acid for $1. Now that might have been CIA agents selling it because there was the whole MK Ultra operation going on, like the covert CIA operation where they were giving people acid like without them knowing, so they could test some kind of like the psychological effect for like warfare and like psychological warfare probably or something like that.
uh-huh.
That's pretty messed up. I mean, really, right? Come on. But
Ooh, conspiracy foodie is also pretty low on my list of enjoyable foodies, but
anyway,
conspiracy foodies down here, historical foodies only a scotch above it. Just a little bit above it.
I never did that. I have no interest in doing that kind of thing. It was a psychedelic era.
Wait, you have no interest in doing psychedelics? Oh boy, did that not age well. We saw you eating mushrooms on camera. So, okay.
Psychedelic music, like the music in my intro.
Also greened out 95% of the time on the current day channel, so that's all a lot, isn't it? It's a lot. Ma'am. Exactly, Lucy.
Psychedelic rock. And a lot of artists would drop acid or take hallucinogenic drugs in order to, they said it opened their mind to let more creativity flow. But like, you don't want to mess with that stuff. Shrooms is one thing, but no. But yeah, so it was like a really memorable year, especially, you know, with everything that I just talked about going on. I think those were the main memorable things that happened that year. A lot happened in that year. Feel free to mention anything else you think of that I may have missed. So fondue parties. Wasn't there also like key parties that were popular? You ever hear of a key party in like the 60s? Look it up. Hey! My light is like flashing.
Sorry, I've fallen down a Wikipedia hole looking at Operation Midnight Climax and MK Ultra. Just checking a thing.
Honestly, technological issues can be a big problem for YouTubers.
What?
This is amazing. Let me tell you right now. Come back here, jalapeno. What's missing? You just wanted to get covered in more cheese. I hate this shirt. Should have got a different shirt.
Nope. Never mind.
I don't know, man. I don't know. So,
It's okay, I've come back. I'm good. I'm good.
man, Woodstock, 2 people died. But part of me would have wanted to go because, look at the lineup, Jim.
Okay. I have an article from The Sun saying 3 people died at the festival. 2 of them were killed by drug overdoses believed to be heroin. The third was Raymond Misak, 17, who was crushed to death while asleep in his sleeping bag by a tractor. That's very sad. Cops were called at 9 a.m. on the Saturday of the festival and discovered the grim scene. That's very sad. Anyway.
Hendrix, Janis Joplin.
Vincent, it's not even fact-checking. It's just, like, typing into Google. I might be 100% wrong on everything that I say, but, like, the internet's telling me something different to Foodie. I don't trust Foodie.
Grateful Dead. So many icons. That would have been an awesome concert. You know?
Megan, she should definitely do a time warp of her own channel. Oof.
Get to see those icons before they join the 27 Club. Would be amazing. Oh.
I've also got a report here that says one person died from a drug overdose. So it could be one, could be two. Who knows?
Would have been totally amazing. Let this cool off. Burn my lip earlier. Jeepers! I can smell the garlic now. That was a good idea. There's so much cheese sauce in there. Oh my god.
Okay, she's just going to moan about the cheese sauce. We can skip that. Chat, we're up to the last one, and admittedly, the most disappointing. So lower your expectations. Find a buddy. We're about to indulge in eating like the 80s. Right. Great. Now, a lot of these products that we'll see are probably still available today. Well, they definitely are because she's purchased them. And were more likely indulged in childhood, possibly. Cassandra, this one does suck.
I want my MTV.
Until we can get inflation under control, we're not going to get all of the other things that ail our economy under control.
Here's Johnny! Yes, it. Yes, namely, the Max Headroom Sprint Starry.
This is kind of the effort I miss.
And everybody thought those fun to eat spaghetti.
Bagel bites. I don't think we have bagel bites in Australia. They seem disappointing. God, this 80s synth is popping though, especially at speed. Cool Ranch Doritos. Was this the time when we were rage eating Cool Ranch Doritos at our kitchen island? I feel it was. That was a moment. It was a moment in history. Alphagetti. Are you 6? And Diet Coke. This is it. This is it. This is the mukbang. You know, she could have at least put a filter on it. Look, it's close to a Madge look, but no.
Get into the groove, boy, you've got to prove your love to me, yeah.
Any other Madonna song. I mean, apart from music, but any other Madonna song.
Don't you forget about me. Oh.
Not a Madonna song.
Don't you forget about me. Don't. We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind. Because your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance well, they're no friends of mine.
I'm not gonna lie, I only enjoy the safety dance because of that episode from Glee.
Hey guys, hey, how are you? Welcome back to another Time Warp.
Sorry, TJN, music is my least enjoyed Madonna piece of music. It's what it is.
Gonna get my lace fingers here all full of Cool Ranch dust. Oh my goodness, okay.
These lace fingerless gloves. Oh boy, it was a choice. This choice with this meal.
Yeah.
Pack the offbeat clapping.
Right. So, food. If you haven't noticed already, I'm doing an 80s video.
And the wooden spoon's back.
Yeah. I have my little bow in my hair, but you can't really see it. But, anyways.
Her hair still looks a damn sight better here. Just being honest.
This is going to be, I want to make sure you see the food. And so let's get to. So, my little gloves. So these are bagel bites. All right. Now, I'm not saying people only ate processed crap in the 80s, but people were eating more. And as you see, unfortunately, with the time pieces I do, there's going to be more and more processed food because as the years went on, that's what happened.
I don't think she did one after this. After this, it was just mukbangs. We didn't get her eating in the 90s, eating in the 2000s or anything.
More processed food came out. And now, if let's say I did a modern time, like right now, I would probably do some health foods because a lot of vegan foods have come out, like Beyond Meat burgers or something like that. So I'm trying to do foods that are really with the time period. You know, there was a lot of low-fat, lean cuisine type of things. So whole low-fat fad was going on at the same time, juxtaposing to there being a rise in microwave foods and things like SpaghettiOs and bagel bites and Cool Ranch Doritos. And to wash it all down, another thing that came out in the 80s was Diet Coke. So let's crack it open. Oh yeah. I love Diet Coke. So, and these are foods I remember eating as a kid, and a lot of
Diet Coke was introduced in 1982. There you go.
you may find this nostalgic as well. So bagel bites, I remember those apparently came out in the 80s. Cool Ranch Doritos as well, and SpaghettiOs. Now, I couldn't find actual SpaghettiOs. Here in Canada, I don't know if you have this in the US, guys, let me know. But we have something called Alphagetti. So it's like alphabet spaghetti.
There's so much sauce. Is that 1 tin or 2? That's surely 2 tins. That's a lot. I mean, we like baked beans, right? This is giving me big baked beans. I don't eat the spaghetti in a tin, but I'll eat baked beans in a tin. That slaps. Heinz. Beans means Heinz.
So, yeah, it's really hot right now.
This is wet.
It's alphabet-shaped pasta. You know, so. Beauty bite.
Wet. It's soup.
I still love it. Once in a while.
Pasta
sometimes
soup.
I put hot dogs, sometimes I put cheese. But, yum. Yes, yes.
I have a list of popular dishes from the 80s here from FineDiningLovers.com. Vol au vents. Look, not to be nostalgic, but I'm kind of a fan of vol au vents. Pasta salad was popular. Sloppy Joes, she could have done Sloppy Joe. Beef strog. Oh, I do love a beef strog. Nice. What else we got? 7-layer dip. I mean, I'm glad she didn't, but 7-layer dip would have been fun. Tiramisu was apparently big in the 80s. Ooh, US debut in the 1980s. Nice. Wine coolers. Interesting. She could have done a lot more than just let's eat packaged garbage food inspired by the 80s. But sure. I mean, this could have introduced a really big discussion surrounding, the obesity epidemic that began in the 1980s, surrounding primarily packaged foods. But not a professional, just a guy who lost some weight. Whatever.
I was born in 1984.
Attic says this is so disappointing.
Cool Ranch Doritos as well.
Yes, let's be disappointed together, Attic.
Beauty bite. I think they're my favorite.
What do I know, Lily? What do I know?
You guys like these bagel bites, pizza bites, the pepperoni and cheese on little mini bagels? Beauty bite.
Just as a note, this is all very beige. It's all very beige. It's all varying degrees of beige. Also, could someone point me in the direction of the whole food? Anyone? Any broccoli? Maybe a leafy green? Hell, I'd take a potato at this point. No? Okay. Dean, she could have made a party platter. She could have made a party platter. Little appetizers, little hors d'oeuvres.
So yeah. I was born in 1984.
The food doesn't even look good. Do you know what's really strange as well? My brain, I love my brain sometimes because it looks at this food and it doesn't recognize it as a meal, which is great. Good on my brain. Because, like, I can see the calories in this and I can see some of the nutrients. Minimal. But I'm really happy that I've taught my brain that this does not look like a meal. This does not look like something that I would sit down and eat. This does not, none of this looks like something I would sit down and consume thinking I'm being mindful about the food I'm putting in my body. All of this food looks like mindless food to me. It looks like stuff that you would just be consuming without thought, which is good because it means that I don't want to eat it.
So,
good.
My early childhood was in the 80s, but a lot of the influence carried on into the early 90s. By the way, I have so much Aquanet in my hair that I didn't want to stand too close to the oven when these were cooking because, man, like, There's enough Aquanet in my hair to cause an explosion bigger than a meth lab.
A meth lab, you say, Foodie. Oh boy, foreshadowing. Hashtag foreshadowing.
That's what they used in the 80s. Obviously, I'm not using Aquanet because I can't find any. Do they still sell that?
I don't know. Does Aquanet still exist?
I don't even know. Mm-hmm. Now, family meals I remember having in the 80s were like, I remember a lot of snack food, but I remember also like a ton of new snack foods were coming out in the 80s. But
89 to 92, Aquanet was the subject of a product safety lawsuit, Nowak versus Faberge, USA, that was since entered legal textbooks. That's fun. In the 1990s, Aquanet was used by punk musicians such as Lars Fredriksson and Michelle Cruz Gonzalez. The brand was acquired by Unilever in 2006 by Lormier. Lormier instigated a rebranding effort intended to reference the product's heritage by reviving parts of its original design elements. Li and Fung acquired Lorname in 2012. I think it's Lorname. Lornamead. Lornamead is currently part of MUM, owned by a joint venture between Fung Group and Honey Capital, called LH Pegasus. Okay, so I don't think their products are currently on the market, no. There you go.
I remember eating things like meatloaf and sloppy joes. And sloppy joes, I was going to make that.
You could have made Sloppy Joes, and it would have been better. And Sierra, thank you very much for joining the channel as a member. I appreciate it. Welcome to Pulpster.
Because that did become really big in the 80s. But I want to save it for my TMI story.
Oh, the calorie count on this Santiago? Oh, boy. I'll try to mock it up. I'll try... Oh, man. I have no idea. Too many? Too many.
So traditional meals people were eating in the 80s weren't invented in the 80s, you know? I think hamburger helper was.
How many cups do you reckon is in that bowl? I'm going to say it's 2 servings of 1 full container, which is a cup and a half. Add food to diary.
The seasoning on these looks like Christmas.
Cool
Red and green.
Ranch Doritos.
Looking some weight. So yeah, 1984. I remember.
Okay, how many chips are there? Let's say 3 serves of 12? At least, minimum. And we won't count the Diet Coke.
Those were big in the 80s.
Bagel
You know, Pretty in
bites.
Pink. The Breakfast Club.
4 bagels. Well, she's got 2 serves of 4 bagels there. Okie dokie. So everything on this table, 1,500 calories? It's probably more chips there, but...
St. Elmo's Fire. And just like...
1,500 calories, 3,700 milligrams of salt. That'll get you. 214 grams of carbs and 44 grams of protein. There you go.
Nintendo. So much happened in the 80s. The Nintendo, come on.
Easily 4 cups,
Original
if not
Nintendo.
6. Do you reckon 4 cups?
I remember playing that when Super Mario 3 came out. And
I
Duck
said
Hunt.
3
man,
cups.
Duck Hunt infuriated me. I think I blame my current anger issues
At least
on
4
Duck Hunt.
cups. Let's up that one.
That dog.
Okay.
Mocking you.
More like 1,800 calories. It's a lot of calories.
For missing.
It's over a day's worth of food. Just say it.
No.
For some.
The 80s.
The sodiums have increased to 5,000 milligrams. Also, there's way more than 3 serves of Doritos here. It's more like,
Of course, like any decade.
4 or 5, but
had
whatever.
A dark side.
I'm scaling low.
If you read or watch the movie American Psycho, for instance, you'll get an idea of the whole... Because in the 80s, this whole yuppie persona came out. Very consumer-driven, materialistic-driven type of person. Or the kind of guy in John Hughes movies that Molly Ringwald would be attracted to.
How dare she?
The whole Wall Street, materialistic kind of guy.
Yuppie, short for young urban professional or young upwardly mobile professional. That's the reference I'm more familiar with, is a term coined in the early 1980s for a young professional person working in a city. The term is first attested in 1980 when it was used as a fairly neutral demographic label, but by mid to late 80s, when a yuppie backlash developed due to concerns over issues such as gentrification, some writers began using the term pejoratively. There you go.
It's a very shallow existence. You know, on the outward appearance, you're still put together. Everything is materialistic and perfect, and on the inside, you're empty.
I remember studying specifically demographics mid 2000s. Someone tried to reinvent the yuppie and called them the scuppy, which was the socially conscious, upwardly mobile young person. Anyway, weird things you remember.
One thing I love most about the 80s, and I'm so thankful that the 80s brought us, definitely not the hair. I was going to get a mullet wig, but...
I wish you would. I wish you would now.
I know I look like a fat goth chick from South Park, okay? I'm going for a Madonna look. So the one thing is the 80s horror genre. Nightmare on Elm Street. Jason.
Sure.
I think Halloween was late 70s. The Shining.
Halloween. Halloween part.
Sleepaway Camp.
Halloween.
Night of the Demons. Those campy.
Halloween was 78. Yeah.
Wonderful horrors. Basket Case. Love it.
She's very philosophical while eating her alphagetti. Yes. At this point, I think Chantal looks truly miserable. Oh my god, is that a reusable straw? Get the hell out of town. I knew she had reusable straws all this time.
There's a lot of things politically. I don't follow politics very well.
No, you don't.
I was never big on political history. So...
I mean, even modern day politics you're not really big on.
A lot of things happen in the 80s. I mean, I'm here for the food, right? Because it's a food channel, but...
Are you going to touch on a specific epidemic back in the 80s as well?
I'm more interested in the pop culture as well.
Mm-hmm.
The music. I love 80s music. The more synthesizer, the better. 80s rock, hair metal. Grew up listening to Appetite for Destruction, Guns N' Roses.
I thought she did.
But the thing I remember most is stealing. My mom had like a CD cabinet in the wall unit, and I used to comb through them, listen to them, and I took her Immaculate Collection, Madonna Immaculate Collection, and took it to my room. I don't think she ever saw it again. She never asked for it. I used to lock myself in my room and just play it and make my own little music videos. Because you can't think of the 80s without thinking of Madonna. I mean,
she's always been interested in producing content, team. Producing.
Had her whole own 80s style going on.
Okay, that's kind of pushing aside the fact that Madonna was a style icon for decades. Whatever. Whatever. Like, I mean, probably most memorable through the 80s for consistent boundary pushing evolutions of style and fashion, yes?
She was very sexual.
Yes.
And as a kid, you're very curious about that kind of thing. Remember when she came out with her sex book? I think it was just called Sex. And bookstores were still a thing. Like, I know there's chapters in that, but it was a little bookstore.
Bookstores still exist, Chantal.
I think it was called Kohl's in our mall.
I know she hasn't been to a bookstore in a hot minute, but bookstores still exist. Just, someone could let her know. That's fine. Oh, Santiago says lies. The Immaculate Collection came out in 1990. Really? Maybe she is misremembering. There you go. The Immaculate Collection is the first. greatest hits album by American singer Madonna, released on November 9th, 1990. There you go.
Counter.
It was recorded between 1983, February 83 and August 90. There you go.
Wrapped in shiny foil was this Madonna book, Sex, and what I would have given to be able to get my hands on that as a curious growing person.
I don't know a lot about Madonna apart from her work, a little bit of her social work, and her fashion. That's about it. Not big on the music. Well, apart from not liking music.
As a curious growing sexual being. You know, that would have been
Hey, Phoebe.
a dream come true. But now that I'm an adult,
Good Pete is making 150 calorie a sliced cheesecake in the kitchen, I believe. Yes. Using egg whites and silken tofu.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's delicious. It's real good.
I've seen her Truth or Dare documentary. I've always idolized her and Tiffany.
Oh, and the book was released in 1992. There you go.
I think we're alone now. Cyndi Lauper.
Uh-huh.
Duran was my favorite. Tears for Fears. One of my biggest favorites. What's your favorite 80s song? Comment below. Aha, Take On Me, another iconic one.
Hey, Andrea. Lovely to see you.
Doing these videos are super fun because I get to go back and just go back in time. Immerse myself for like a whole day.
Uh-huh. Are you immersed in the 80s right now? Is that what's going on here?
Someone said it would be fun to do a video from the future.
I don't think so.
I mean,
Okay,
yeah.
Currently my favorite 80s song would be Neutron Dance.
It's hard to imagine what food
Pointer Sisters.
will be like in the future.
She could have done in the 50s actually, she could have done a futurism or futuristic mukbang using like space food sticks and stuff. I mean, every decade kind of has what it thinks the food of the future will look like, but specifically around Bug, like 50s space race. The Bug can go outside now. Goodbye, Bug. Like there was a lot of heavily processed, this is what we'll eat in the future. The land of tomorrow stuff. That stuff.
Especially since right now, the future is kind of grim with everything. I mean, 2020 has kind of been a poster child for
Blink, it's a really good song. It's got a high BPM and I really like walking to it, so yes.
a dystopian future. So, if you want me to do a dystopian time warp video,
That's what this is.
alphabets. You ever try to spell things out? I was just too hungry to worry about it. I never played with my food because I was too busy eating it. I would never disrespect food that way. We can go where we want to. Now I have that song in my head, Safety Dance. Such a funny song. And video. The dance they do.
Okay, but also New Attitude by Patti LaBelle, 1984. So that's a contender. Tanya, thank you very much for the super chat. Tanya says, I grew up in northern New Jersey, New York area in the late 80s and 90s. For her to reference Madonna and not the HIV epidemic seems purposeful. Yeah, ignorant, I think. Thank you for the super chat as well. I think she probably doesn't know. Like she has absolute. She touched on the politics, and I was waiting for her to talk about American politics because she doesn't talk about Canadian anything in any of these. But she didn't, so she didn't mention any of that. But then to also talk about Madonna seems specifically avoidant. But pardon me, I think she's just supremely ill-referenced, ill-informed, unknowledgeable, and, like, you know, she probably only really knows Madonna from pop culture and listening to albums and doesn't know any of that. But thank you for the super chat, though, Tanya.
Ow. Apparently Hot Pockets came out in the 80s as well. Hot Pockets.
Unthoughtful. That's a good one, Peapod, yes.
If we're going to go back in time and do something fun, YouTube has hours of retro commercials. And I'm warning you, they're addictive.
Oh, this was the time when she was telling us that she did have a hobby, and the hobby was collecting memorabilia from bygone eras of takeout. Yes. I do remember this.
Yeah, I'd say Cool Ranch. I like the sweet chili heat ones too, but these I think will always be my favorite. They're so good. You know? Diet Coke. Wash it all down. Yeah, in the 80s, a lot of fad diets emerged. I think that's where fad dieting emerged from, the 80s. And they were focused a lot on low fat. Nowadays, they're focused on low sugar, low carb. But they were low fat, and so that, you know, Diet Coke would become popular because 0 calorie beverage.
From taste.com.au, just like today, cleansers were big during the Lycra era, referencing the 80s, I do appreciate that, with versions from wacky to dangerous, such as the lemonade cleanse fad of the 1980s, a particularly unsafe liquid diet consisting of only lemon juice, maple syrup, and cayenne pepper, deficient in nutrients and calories. Boy howdy have we heard of that fad diet going around for years then.
Fad dieting was a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, like, the idea of quick weight loss diets has been around for a real long time. Like, the 80s certainly commercialized a lot of that. This would be the point where she can go off about diet culture, but chooses instead to eat Doritos. Oh well, you choose your battles, I guess.
Okay, guys. This was so much fun.
Was it?
I haven't decided on a time period for the next video yet.
Spoilers, this was the last one, I think.
I really want to try to aim to do one every week, but if I need more time to get materials or just for whatever reason, it might not be every week, but I'm going to aim for a regular series, and hopefully they can get better with time.
We watched the entire series, chat. 5 videos.
I'm really glad that you guys enjoy these, and thank you for coming on this time trip with me back to the 80s and for having lunch with me.
Well, no, this wasn't the last one, but within these 5, we only got these 5.
Excuse me. It was an 80s burp. Alright. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye.
Bye, Foodie. Chat! That was fun. That was a good 2.5 hours catching up with pastime Foodie. Oh boy. Things have not... I mean, that aged not great, but would I prefer that content over modern day Foodie? You know what? Even though it's cringe as hell and uninformed, uneducated, and kind of pointless, I kind of do. I would prefer to not be in the current period of time with Foodie. But who knows? Maybe her content will get better when she presents the Beezer Awards in a couple of days' time. I don't think they will, if it happens at all, but whatever. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you'd like to hit the like button on the way out, I'd very much appreciate that. For those of you on the rewatch, thank you for your comments, opinions, and eyeballs as always, and I will see you all in the next video and or live stream. I think I'm going to cook potatoes tonight. Anyway, bye!